Hello all, we're here at Ormsby Table Tennis Club for the final weekend of the Premier British Clubs Leagues. Lots of exciting matches to look forward to. I'm Steve Bailey, former Ormsby Premier League player and now a coach, joined by Connor Whitehead from Table Tennis England. And we'll be talking you through some of the matches and some of the action as this goes on. There's certainly a lot of good encounters to look forward to, Connor.
Yeah, that's right, Steve. Really excited to be up in Ormsby. Exciting weekend with it all to play for at both the top and the bottom of the division. Ormsby leading the division currently, could be crowned champions on our home soil tomorrow, where they'll face Brighton in the last match of the weekend. If we take a look at the fixtures from rounds 11 to 14, really exciting one here coming up on table one between Ormau and Drumchapel, both teams spearheaded by two really top elite players. Parel, who we'll see play first this morning. Taking a look at Parel. He's a 12-time Swedish national champion. And Steve, you were looking at, he's known as the best server in the world. And you were looking at his serves in the warm-up. Tell us a little bit about those.
Yeah, certainly one of the best servers. Employs the hook serve, top spin, back spin. He can do the kicker, long, short, anywhere on the table. Of course, he's a lefty as well. Makes things a little bit more awkward. He's up against Aaron McKibben, who a lot of guys will know from British League, one of our para stars. And it's going to be a great spectacle, a great game to watch. And I'm sure we will see Parel's full armoury of serves. He's gifted with fantastic feeling, great hand, great natural timing, great experience, and he's been there and done a lot. Top 30 world ranked player, a little bit older now, but still in great condition, in great shape. And it will be interesting to see how some of our homegrown players fare against a player of his calibre. McKibben serving now. It's a little bit long. Parel gets in. He'll be disappointed with that. He got in first. Just feeling his way in. You won't miss too many of those, a player of his level. And there we see that action. And that's what he's known for. McKibben just couldn't see what spin exactly was on that. He tries to touch the ball tight. It's top spin, it pops up. And an easy third ball. Such is the value of having a weapon like that. He's gifted with fantastic feeling there. You just see the amount of spin that he generates with such a short action. And Aaron just not able to read exactly how much is on that. McKibben serving now 2-4. Yeah, you won't get away with that too much. Just push that first long ball. Parel gets in first with the first strong topspin. Misses the sixth ball off the end of the table, but as the game and the weekend goes on, you will not see him miss too many of those.
A huge match also on table two taking place, yet to get underway, between EBAT and BATTS. EBAT currently sit bottom of the table, just 2 points behind Drumchapel Glasgow, and then Ormau just sit in front, outside the relegation zone, 2 points clear. So huge battle this one, as 2 points will go to the winner.
Yeah, an enormous amount to play for there. And this is what makes the final weekend so interesting. You've got the guys who are looking to take the title and go for the top, and then the guys who are looking to reaffirm the position for next year. You see Parel now just starting to feel his way into the match. He's not trying to do too much. Any young players out there watching, he doesn't need to come out too strong. That's that experience for you, just gradually getting going, feeling his way into the game. A good spin service there. And this is what's interesting about Parel's service. It's not only the amount of spin. You can put it absolutely anywhere on the table. Short, long, forehand, backhand, middle backhand, white lines at will. Constantly putting the opponent under pressure. They don't know what's coming next. Ends up being a real guessing game. We'll see that more and more. You say there, McKibben's serve drifted long. Parel in with the first strong topspin. Sets up the easy fourth ball winner. He's getting going now. Aaron is going to have to play a little bit tighter and not allow him to get in with those type of shots. These guys at that level will not let you off the hook.
4 game points for Parel, looking to get his first game under his belt here in the very first match.
Yeah, and there you see it. That serve, Aaron thinks it's backspin. He looks to push long to the crossover. Not as much spin as he anticipated. Ball pops up, he's round. And there's the winner.
Let's take a look at one of the replays from this game. Even when he does miss, the ball's quite easy. It's just his mistake, isn't it? It's not the opposing player that's actually winning the point. It's just his mistake.
Yeah, and he'll use this kind of first stand just to get going. This is what the best players do. And Aaron will certainly need to tighten up a little bit and not give him too many of those balls if he wants to establish himself in this game.
We've got another big game coming up because Paul Drinkle leads the line for the Drumchapel Glasgow outfit on weekend 4. Somebody you know very well, Steve.
You might say that, yeah.
And a huge game between Paul and Parr that could mean quite a lot to both the clubs, Ormo and Drumchapel Glasgow, in their hope for survival this season.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, Paul kind of leading that charge. He needs to play well over this weekend to win the majority of his games, I would think, for them to have any chance of staying up. Obviously, Drumchapel, one of the biggest names in British table tennis, and we hope they can do so. And then Ormo, of course, will be fighting hard as well. Both brought in strong number ones, and their clash will be could end up being a real classic and one to watch for the spectators. They've both been there and done it for years, so it'll be interesting to see how that one pans out. Aaron there just letting that serve drift along. He's getting away with it a little bit at the moment, but I'm not sure that's going to be a winning tactic. Great feeling there. And in, yeah.
Dummy loop on the backhand, just no wrist on the contact, and just enough to put the ball over. Like you say earlier, it's about not making the mistakes in those first couple of balls, isn't it?
Yeah, that's
Feeling
right.
your way into the matches.
Yeah, that's right. And I think Aaron really needs to start taking the game to Parel. He's playing up. Obviously, Parel's an experienced player, and I think Aaron needs to really go for him, for want of a better expression, and put him under pressure if he wants him to make mistakes. I think he needs to serve tight and get in with his own attacking game. Ask Parel a few more questions than what he's currently been doing. It's a nice serve there from Aaron. A little bit of backspin, just flicking the wrist around the ball. Parel touching into the net. The short serve is definitely, I think, a better tactic. Yeah, just getting a little bit fortunate there with the net. McKibben now serving. Interested around the net, a little bit of touch play. He's in first, and Aaron's unlucky there. I think he just needed to, that's what he needs to do if he wants to be successful. He needs to look to get in with that strong topspin, put him under pressure. Parel varying his serve so well. This is the thing, you just never know where that serve is going to go. That's the really difficult bit about it. With one action, he can place the ball anywhere on the table. Yeah, looks to get in there, and again just sets himself up, moves his feet, just a little bit unfortunate with that third ball. He won't be too disappointed with that. He knows that's his game. He knows that's the way. That's what's put him where he is, and that's what he'll look to continue. Aaron serving now. Better service there, nice and short. He's enjoying a little bit more success there with the short backspin serve. You don't want to be giving a player the likes of Parel a free swing at the ball like that. Yeah, we see it again. If he lets that serve drift long, unfortunately, that is going to be the outcome more times than not against a player of his quality. And there we see it again, the Parel serve short to the McKibben forehand, the ball's curving away from him. And just straight in with that first. Well, that's better from that. Yeah, he was in. He needed to convert that one, really. And that's what he needs to do. 9, 7, 9 there. Parel away from the table. Aaron needed to do better with that. He's in.
This is where he'll use his feeling.
Yeah, well done, Aaron McKibben. That drop shot could have been better, but managed to keep the pressure on, keep Parel away from the table. And I think that's what he needs to do. He needs to give him pressure. Parel's not just going to lose this and make too many unforced errors. Aaron really needs to take the game to him, I think.
Really positive from Aaron in this second game.
Yeah, much
he
better.
is on the front foot, and obviously he is in the game. That's the main thing you have to keep in mind when you're playing against a player that you know is a little bit more quality.
Yeah, and that's really good play. A little bit unfortunate there. Aaron did everything right in that point. He got in, switched him quick. He took the ball early. I don't know if that was a top edge. He just slight apology there. I'm not sure if that was a top edge. It's unfortunate. That would have been 9-all. Although Parel with 2 serves to come, still the favourite. Great play there from McKibben. Just raised his hand. I don't know if that was a top edge, but nice re-loop, just straight down the line. Effective against the left-hander, moving away from the body. 9-10.
Aaron's currently ranked world #1 in his class. I think it's class 8.
Fantastic. That's a great serve and a great receive there from Aaron. Parel, the first time he served to the backhand in the whole match, short topspin, showing that experience. Aaron flicking well. 10-all and serving. Great chance now for McKibben in this end. Yeah, there's that short backspin serve again. I think he needs to do that more and more. Yeah, once again. And that's 3 points in this end that he's done the straight backspin serve, and Parel's dumped it in the bottom of the net. Clever of him to use it again when he needs it most at juice. Yeah, and there's that fantastic service and third ball from Parel. He varies it so well. McKibben thinks it's backspin. He tries to do the right thing. Long positive dig. Pops up. Parel straight in with a strong forehand. 11-all. McKibben serving. Oh, serves off. And he'll be kicking himself. 12-11 now.
Interesting to see. He's just taking a little step over, isn't he, Aaron? So he can see that ball clearly on the receive.
Yeah, against the lefty, it's difficult to see the contact point.
Fantastic rally.
Yeah, fantastic rally. Well done, Aaron McKibben there. And I think he needs to do that more and more. Take his chances, play positive, some caution to the wind. He must be positive on receiver service. 12-all set. Will we see the short backspin one again? He's had a lot of success in this end so far. Long serve for variation. Let's serve. That was clever. He was looking there to take the advantage of surprise long serve.
Also, when you're making a mistake on that short serve, when it's so close, that pressure to keep it so tight is on. Sometimes better to just go long and fast instead of try to serve short and it's half long.
Yeah, it's the surprise element, and if you do serve long, it's got to be first bounce on that white line. It can't just be half long. Well, then Aaron McKibben there again, and actually receiving Parel's serve better than some would have anticipated. 13-all now. And there's a short backspin serve.
Oh, just a little bit late on that forehand flick.
That was adventurous. I think that ball was half long. Incredibly difficult to flick a half long serve. I think he was expecting it tight. Yeah, well played, Parel there. And that's interesting there, just the little backhand down the line, followed by the strong forehand follow-up. See there at Juice, showing that experience, totally unflappable. Cool under pressure, short service, gets in first, doesn't go crazy on that third ball, doesn't need to. Picks his placement over power, waits for the right ball, fifth ball pops up, and he puts it away. Just showcasing a little bit of experience and class there. And you just fancy that Aaron really needed to take that second end. Parel now 2 games up, could relax and really start to show his class. Aaron a little bit unfortunate in that end. I thought he played really well. Just seeing there some great play. Taking the ball early at the top of the bounce. Definitely played better. I think he really needed to pinch that second end.
Taking a look at some of the other fixtures going on around the hall. EBAT have raced into a lead against BATTS, only taking the first end. Nahom Ascadon taking on Isaac Kingham in what is a huge clash for EBAT. BATTS are pretty much safe for this season, currently sat in 3rd place. Probably would say they're a little bit too behind to be challenging for the title on this final weekend. Really important match for EBAT on table 2. Now as we head back to table 1. An early lead for Parel.
Parel 2 up, 2 points on his serves. McKibben now serving. Yeah, there's that short backspin serve again. Fast accelerating wrist. He's had a lot of joy with that service. And there's the float. Oh, unlucky Aaron McKibben. Tactically really, really good there. Short backspin serve, Parel dumps it in the net. Aaron follows up with a float serve. A little bit unlucky missing his 3rd ball. Yeah, a little bit of look of disbelief there from Parel missing that.
If you can get Parel into the rally, it looks like you can win the points. It's just getting into that rally with quality, isn't it? You know, Aaron's receiving that serve sometimes, but he's receiving it on the table, but it's too easy for the former Sweden international.
Yeah, he has to be positive on receiver service. Anything loose, you've kind of just got to really commit to your receive. Half measures won't cut it against a player of this caliber. Oh, fantastic feeling there. You just see that real example there of Parel's hands, what he's known for. Caught out of position, employs what these days they call the snake. And who knows which way it's going to kick. I certainly didn't. And Aaron struggled a little bit as well. 2-4 down and serving. There's a backspin serve again. Parel flicks. Really stamping his authority now on this match. So difficult against the left-hander when they're flicking from the middle of the table. You just can't see which way he's going to go with it.
Just finishing with his racket slightly up, especially when Aaron's going for that shorter push instead of digging out really long and fast. Parel seems to come up with his wrist at the end and makes quite a lot of mistakes on that forehand open up actually when it's a good receive.
Yeah, he's certainly made more than I anticipated. Probably just still adapting to some of the conditions and kind of getting going a little bit. It's not a weakness, but you're right, Connor, he's definitely made some more mistakes than I anticipated.
Which will be interesting, obviously, when we see Parel go up against Drinkle later on in this match.
Yes.
But I think what could be really key in this match is the doubles.
Yeah, potentially. Obviously, Parel and Paul are only 2 players and they can only win so many matches, and there's so often we've seen throughout the season in the Premier British Clubs Leagues, there's doubles have ended up playing a really key aspect.
And it's actually a bit of a strength of the All-Mal team, winning every doubles match in the last outing. And also Sophie Early and Oriel Monzo on weekend 2 were 3 out of 4 in the doubles.
Oh, wow.
Only going down to Enio Mendes and Ben Piggott from Ormsby.
Yeah, another strong pairing, so that could be critical. 9-3 serving now, Parel. Yeah, and there it is. Disguise serve. He's in the rally.
Oh, that's nice. Hit the ball into the end of the table.
He's got fantastic hands, this guy. Gifted with absolutely fantastic hands. Yeah, long serve. I think Aaron now senses that.
I think what's difficult on that one is when Parel makes the half long, you don't know whether it's absolutely loaded with topspin or whether it's just rolled on.
Yeah.
It's just that slight wrist acceleration that
It
gives
is
him all the spin.
At the end, and also one slight change of his wrist angle. It's down the line or it's across the table. His technique doesn't give you a great deal of clues. It's only that last wrist or that last second. Not easy to anticipate. 4 match points.
Again, the mistake.
Unforced error there. He got the receive he wanted. Little short topspin serve.
Looks like he's pulling his back slightly as well. Whether he's playing with a bit of an injury or a lack of practice, not sure. I know he's the Sweden junior boys coach at the European Championships.
Yeah, that's right. I believe he's working with those guys on a full-time basis now. Not 100% sure about that, but that's certainly what conversation I had earlier in the hall. So obviously shifting slightly from being a full-time player to move into coaching, but still a very capable guy at this level.
Which is similar to the current England number 2 who's coming up next, Paul Drinkle, working with the England junior boys team.
Correct. And Aaron McKibben from 3-9 down was at a let is now 9-10 and serving. And he's very quietly sneaked his way back into contention here. All credit to him for that.
Definitely a performance to be proud of for McKibben. It's no disgrace at all, this scoreline.
Parel away from the tip. He gets away with it. And Aaron McKibben there, and that point did everything right until the final blow. And unfortunately, there's no pictures on a scorecard, and that's a 3-0 victory and a strong start for Ormo and Parel.
Taking a look at one of the highlights in this last game, just showcasing Parel's feeling.
Yeah, this is really his strength at that level and what kept him up there. It's like he has another split second with the ball on the back compared to us mere mortals. Makes life very, very difficult for his opponent.
So, Steve, coming up next, the one, the only, 7-time English senior national champion, Paul Drinkle, somebody you know really well. 8 out of 8 currently in the British Clubs League's Premier Division as he makes his return after 10 years away from the division.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as you've mentioned, Conor Paul starting to transition a little bit now to coaching, working with some England junior boys, but still a very, very capable player. I had the unfortunate experience from my perspective as practicing with him on Wednesday morning, and let me assure anybody watching or listening at home that quality in that hand is still absolutely there. He just managed to scrape a lucky 4-0 win against me. But yeah, he's still blessed with fantastic power on both wings, incredibly explosive, incredible ball feeling, and he's not as fast as he was when he was 25, but the brain is still very quick.
And obviously Paul will be part of the England men's team that has recently been announced to compete at the ITTF World Team Championships here in London, back where it all began, the 100th World Championships.
Yeah, you've got a real mix of experience and young fresh blood now in that team. Obviously, Paul being there and doing it now, been around forever. Been playing for England seniors since he was 14. Sam Walker, obviously no stranger to international competition at that level. Tom Jarvis, the man in the middle, and then you've got the two youngsters bringing up the rear there, and they will benefit from this experience as well. Connor Green, for me, one of the most improved players in this country over the past kind of years. Progress has been fantastic. And
some huge results on the international scene, especially recently. WTT feeder, the first ever English pair to win a mixed doubles title at a WTT event in Dusseldorf, but also in the singles there, beating Leonardo Izuka, who's played at the World Junior Championships from Brazil, beating Kai Stumper in the Germany national team at the last European Championships.
Yeah, his game's developing. He's becoming much more kind of all around now. His movement's improved, his service and receiver's improved, which obviously at that level is absolutely critical. And then young Joe Hunter, after some would say shock result, but reaching the semi-finals. I know he's playing kind of full time and improving all the time. He's only young, and it will certainly be a very good experience for him to feel that competition at that stage, and he'll learn a lot, which ultimately is what he will mostly be there for. And it's nice to see the youngsters now starting to break through.
So as we head back to table one, a bit of a tactical choice from Ormo here. As on paper, probably Paul McCreary is higher ranked than Sophie Early in the Ormo ranks, would you say, Steve?
Yeah, I would say so. And Sophie's a player that I've been impressed with. Again, she's got a really fantastic kind of two-wing game. I think it'll be really interesting to see when she's playing internationally. I know she's switched from Northern Ireland to England. It'll be interesting to see when she's eligible to play just what she can do. If you look at the women now, they're like a Tintin Ho and Anna Hersey in terms of the Great Britain team, Tiana Yu and Sophie, Ella Pashley. There's the start of a strong ladies team, and I think Sophie Early could end up becoming. She's still young, she's still improving, she's got a long way to go, but showing some signs now of becoming a classy player, and obviously testing herself against the best now in this league. Let's see how she copes with Mr. Drinkle's class.
Trademark forehand flick to get us underway.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of that more times than I care to remember. He takes it so well, it's always at the top of the bounce. Fast hands, flicks right through the ball, and looks to employ it at almost every opportunity. Let's serve there. And just joined now by Richie Venner. No stranger to a lot of those guys listening. Richie being a top player in this country in various age categories for many, many years, a wealth of experience. and has the misfortune of having to play with me in the Vets British League. Listen to me on the bench. Richie, welcome to the broadcast.
Yeah, thank you very much. Really looking forward to this match, seeing Sophie playing Paul. Yeah, hopefully to Sophie and the England international of the future. Paul, a very, very well established England international and fantastic player.
Yeah, now we see again that Drinkle flick, and Sophie really needs to get to grips with that and not serving too short. I think that's one of the most important things. If you serve too short, it makes it easy to flick your second serve. Sorry, the second bounce really got to be white line to stop Paul from flicking. That's important, but she learns that relatively quickly. And Paul serving now. Short backspin, quick dig there to the middle. That's unlucky from Sophie. She adapted there, looking to play the strong positive topspin. Fall now, Sophie serving. Good short serve. And that's not something she can afford to do too often. Pushing long to Paul Drinkle's forehand. He missed his follow-up there. He won't miss too many of those. Sophie will really need to look to do that herself. 5-all there. And just these early matches, it's so interesting to see the players maybe making a couple of unforced errors, just as they're starting to get going, warm up, play the way into the day, get used to the conditions. 5-all, Paul serving. Yeah, another really strong part of his game is serving short the forehand, something that we don't maybe see too much of these days from players at the top level. Look, straight backsman serve there at the forehand and really sets his game up well. Taking the ball early there, he's still got that speed of anticipation, speed of hand, and just drilling it down to the early wide forehand. Let's see how Sophie can reply. Probably looking to employ her own serve and strong follow. Long serve there, lets Paul in, but really strong counter loop. And Richie, you look at the counter loop, the way that it's over the last kind of 10 years, really plays a massive part now in the international game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's one of the things that impresses me most is that on sort of modern table tennis, you see someone get in with a very, very impressive first loop, and the counter loop, which is a really difficult shot to play, has really been it's really changed table tennis in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, and I think obviously the change in the materials has moved towards that. The change in the balls, you know, a lot of the guys now staying close and re-looping and counter looping, whereas 10, 12, certainly 15, 20 years ago, the mid-distance topspin was probably the prevalent style. Now the guys looking to stay closer, and the materials allow you to re-loop and take the ball earlier. And it's becoming more and more prevalent on the international level and more important for the youngsters of the game to learn that skill early. And speaking of early, she's serving now 7-9 down, and there's the Drinkle flick again. And if I'm in Sophie's corner now, I'm telling her not to serve too many short to Paul's forehand.
Yeah, it's been an interesting tactics where they're both serving short to the forehand quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think Paul's had quite a lot of joy doing that, but Sophie not so much because of Paul Drinkle's got a world-class forehand flick.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, Paul there taking the first end 11-7. I'm sure that the Ormo coach will be probably telling her to serve a little bit more to the middle or the middle forehand, the little crossover point, rather than wide forehand. You know, it's certainly one of Paul's strengths and something that's relatively well known. It's not a secret that that's one of his super strengths. And Sophie will, I'm sure we'll see a tactical change in that second game. Paul just playing his way in there, managed to win a couple of cheap points, but I'm sure that Sophie will. She's obviously a very good serve and third ball player as well, and I'm sure we'll see her look to establish more of that and play her strengths more in this second game. She won't miss too many of those openings that she did early doors in that first game.
Yeah, I think it's the first game of the weekend. I think that both players are just warming up. I think we saw it a little bit in the first match against Parel, who played fantastic. He won 3-0, but he kind of missed quite a few forehands that you don't expect him to miss for the rest of the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely, Richie. I would agree with that. And again, it's just a case of changing conditions, change tables. It might be a different ball. You just got to play your way and feel your way in, and showing that experience really is very, very important indeed. Paul serving to kick us off in the second end. Well, that serve, I think, there, umpire Gary Wyman calling the let. Yeah, and really one thing Paul's blessed with is explosive power and explosive speed, and you've got to stay up to the table and put pressure on him. If you give him time like that, and there we see it again, the trademark Drinkle foreign flick. So if he really needs to touch second bounce white line, if it's too short, Paul will have a great time with that, and I'm sure she'll adapt as the game goes on.
I think it's probably worth her touching short to Paul's backhand to try to take Paul's forehand flick out of the game.
I would recommend it. And there we see one from Sophie herself. Little float serve there pops up, and that foreign flick straight from the Drinkle school. Great to see, positive play there from Sophie. Good positive long dig there. If you're not sure on the spin on service, problem is if you touch it short, you're giving your opponent an easy ball. So better be positive and go long to maybe the middle or the crossover point. Give yourself a chance. And good play there from Sophie. That's really impressive. This is why I think she could maybe make a mark on the international kind of women's game. She really can spin well from both wings. We don't always see that. I'm a big fan of her style of play.
Yeah, me too. I think she's got a fantastic modern game all-out attack, which I think when she does become eligible for England, as I think we got talked about earlier, I think England have got the potential of having a really good women's team.
Yeah, absolutely. It's certainly something. If you look at the strength and depth, obviously on a British level, you've got Anna Hersey in the mix as well. But for England, you've got Tintin, who needs no introduction. Tiana Yu, who young player improving all the time. Ella Pashley, another player that I have the privilege of practicing with here at Ormsby, and she's young and improving very, very quick. And then Sophie in that mix as well. And suddenly we look to have a little bit of strength and depth, and potentially the best England women's team in years, which is really, really good for the sport and great to see. Paul serving now 5-4.
I've been impressed with Sophie. She's really hung in there against Paul. Paul is really a top class player, and she got 11-7. I thought was a good effort in the first game, and she's hanging in there. She's only a couple of points short.
Couple of points with her serves to come. And again, similar to Aaron against Parel in the first game, when you're playing up, as we say, you're playing a player who's better than you, you've got to try and stay with them. You don't want to give them that 4 or 5 point cushion because they'll relax. If you can stay with them, then I think you have a much better chance of putting the pressure on. Great play there from Sophie. Just acknowledges a good fortune there. That could have been a top edge. It certainly looked clean to me. And 6-all now. Paul with his 2 serves to come. Yeah, well done, Sophie. It's a great positive receiver serve. Paul away from the table. Sophie putting the pressure on. Fantastic play. And that's what she needs to do. I think she needs to take the initiative as early as possible against Paul. She doesn't want to give him a chance to play those power shots. That's good tactics there from Sophie. Good rally, Paul away from the table. A little bit of feeling. Yeah, Sophie coping with it very admirably, in my opinion. And just sneaking there, a 2-point lead and serving. Very impressive indeed.
Yeah, important serves now for Sophie. Can she pull ahead? If she can, 9-6 up now.
Yeah, you see that serve was to the middle of the table and it was a little bit longer. Second bounce white line, Paul trying to flick. And that is the way that Sophie needs to play. Yeah, fantastic there from Paul. The backhand really look. He's blessed with incredible timing. And he's not afraid to play those shots. All that experience of his. Very comfortable. Short backspin serve there. Sophie looking for the banana backhand. Wasn't invented, Richie, when we were playing all those years ago. But
no, unfortunately, there was no bananas around when I was playing.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's very prevalent now. And twice in a row. Paul just did a little tactical change there, and that's showing the experience. He serves short the forehand so much. He senses Sophie adapting. 2 backspin serves short to backhand to bring up 9-all, but with the early serves to come, importantly. Great rally, Paul away from the table. Sophie hanging in. Yeah. Just that extra weight of shot, Richie. You've played Paul yourself, and just real quality on those forehand topspins.
Yeah, he's such a powerful player. I mean, I certainly picked up on his forehand flick when I was playing him. But even in a rally, he's back there. He's so consistent.
Oh, and Sophie there getting fortunate, but she did everything right in that point. She absolutely deserved that point. She had Paul away from the table. Okay, she got fortunate with that net, but playing some really strong topspins, keeping Paul on the ropes. All credit to her there. Now Paul 10-all and serving. I wonder if we'll see the short backspin to the backhand that he's employed, or a long fast serve perhaps. No, long, that's the, oh yeah, well done. Now Sophie spun that up really, really heavily. Possibly a slight miss here, but the problem was it was too short, giving Paul an easy forehand. Sophie will be looking to do the same in this point herself. Positive play. Long serve, and I'm afraid that's a tactical error there from So. I'm not just drifting long there. I'm sure she was trying to serve short. Paul's showing his experience. He's straight round, forehand topspin to the middle, brings the player over, exposes the wide forehand, and then rips one wide. And that's really a hallmark of play at this level. You know, you need to, especially at deuce, you can't be letting the serve drift half long. You will be punished on the international scene for that.
Yeah, you've got to keep it tight. It's either got to bounce twice to stop the first forehand loop coming in, or it's got to be a fast deep one to the white line at the base.
And Sophie there with a real chance. It would have been interesting if you could have snatched that. A little bit like Aaron McKibben or Parel in the second. Parel got home with deuce. And when you're playing a player who is a better player than you standard-wise, you've really got to try and stay with him. And Paul 2-0, he could pull away. Sophie will have something to say about that. And there the short serve to the forehand again. And Paul in with that forehand flick. Unforced error there. Yeah, you just sense, Richie, that once Paul's in with that forehand from the middle of the table, that Sophie's going to have a difficult time.
It looks to me like Paul is looking for the serve that's just drifting, so he can get in with a big forehand, which his forehand is now seemingly taking over the game now.
Yeah, I think Sophie just needs to really work to make Paul play backhand from the backhand side. And 3-1 Paul now, just starting to show his class. Sophie needs to stay with him in this end. I wonder if we'll see a tactical change. Good shot serve there, that's better. Yeah, that's better from Sophie. Paul did a really strong reloop there. And Sophie just showing that trained quickness, the sharpness, managing to get that one back and stay in the rally.
That was a really sharp backhand. I was very impressed that she got that back.
Yeah, absolutely. Paul away from the table now with the chop, a little bit of feeling. Yeah, well done, Sophie, early. I think she needs to do that, Richie. She's got to throw caution to the wind a little bit. She's 2 games down. She doesn't want to let Paul get his nose in front and start playing that power. I think she needs to be really positive. Look to take the initiative early and the point. Try and get Paul away from the table.
Yeah, absolutely right. She's got to keep her serves tight, stop Paul getting in. She goes for that banana flick again, and it doesn't quite pay off.
Difficulty is that Paul's doing straight backspin to that backhand. Now, if there's side spin on the ball, that helps you do the banana flick. But if it's straight backspin, it's much more difficult. You don't have the side spin to work with. And Paul is very, very good at the straight backspin serve. He probably does it more than any of the top player these days. A lot of them serve a side spin. And there's those power shots. And really impressed with Sophie there. Just Paul's back on there, strong, spinny, and Sophie staying close to the table. Fantastic control on that back on block. Really good to see. 5-4 serving. Yeah, this is what she can't really afford to do. I mean, Paul lets her off the hook there, but serving long, Paul gets in. Sophie needs to be the one looking to get in first against Paul. Showing that replay there. That's good play from Sophie early, and she'll be disappointed with that. In first, and unfortunate to lose that point. Paul 6-5 and serving. Yeah, that's good play from Paul. Just the slow flick. He does that one so well. People expect the fast flick, and suddenly at the last second he'll just soft hands. The player's away from the table. They give him a weak ball, and then he's in with a reloop. And goes for it there. But Sophie immediately telling herself she needs to prepare for that forehand. And she's absolutely right.
That was a good tight serve. Paul went for the tight serve.
Yeah. Good play from Sophie. Back at the backhand exchange. Yeah, brilliant. Well done, Sophie Ellie.
Two fantastic backhands there from Sophie. And deservedly won that point. They were both really powerful.
I think she needs to employ that tactic more and more, staying close, taking the ball early against Paul, preventing him from playing that rocket forehand topspin. Again, we see Sophie trying to do the banana flick to the straight backspin serve. I think she's better off with that one, Richie, just trying to touch it tight.
Yeah.
Paul 8-7 serving. Long serve that time, and straight in with a backhand counter. Sophie needs one of these desperately to stay in the match. Yeah, that's better. Serving short of that backhand, she's had more success. I think she'll look to do that again. Short the forehand. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we both agree. Short of the forehand is not where to play to Paul.
The difficulty is Paul on that side. With one slight change of his wrist, he can go backhand, he can go forehand, he can go speed, he can go soft. Just opens the table up for him. And now a match point, 2 match points on his serve. Yeah, and that's just showing his experience there. And you see there a theme in that third end. Not sure if the guys at home will notice, but Sophie touching and moving away from the table, expecting the power. And then Paul just has that extra split second and just drops it short, showing his experience at this level. And this is the backhand rally there. Sophie, really good fluent backhands there. Look at the timing on that. Same timing point on 3 different balls from Paul.
You were speaking about Sophie there, Steve, stepping into that England lineup. So if we just take, obviously we mentioned earlier, Paul kind of leading the England lineup alongside Tom Jarvis and Sam Walker with the experience.
Yeah.
Obviously, if we look at the England women's team selected for the World Championships.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, we've got a mixed area of experience. I mean, Tintin is still reasonably young, but she's been around for so long. I mean, she's so experienced. Been so impressed with her journey in table tennis. And then Jasmine Wong, Tiani Yu, another really positive, strong young player who seems to improve every year. Young Ella Pashley, who's got a little bit of experience now at that level. And obviously the wild card pick, who's very young.
Alyssa Newman, only 14 years old, really, really impressive at the under-17 nationals, taking the gold medal there. Obviously, only 14 years young. And obviously at the senior nationals, reaching the quarterfinals where she faced Ella Pashley and held her own.
Yeah, and it's really nice to see that these kind of young players are now starting to establish the senior stars young. When I think of Paul, when he was young, kind of coming through at 13 and 14 and really starting to make a name for himself. What I would like to see is more of that coming through, but also them spending a couple of years on the bench and not being pitched in too young. If they're on the bench, they can learn from the senior players. They can start to get the feel for these international events and learn slowly. Then hopefully by the time they're 18 and 19, then they can start to make a mark.
Let's get started.
And back to the action now in the doubles, and Connor highlighted early the importance of the doubles and what a critical role they can play now in this format. Paul McCreary making his debut in this match. Another experienced competitor. He's been around for a long time. And Aaron McKibben back to the table playing with Paul. Interesting, you've got a left hand and right hand combination in Paul McCreary and Parel. Always an advantage in doubles.
Yeah, huge matchup this one. I think could really be key. Ormau doing a bit of a tactical decision to put Paul McCreary in at number 3 and Sophie Early in at number 2. trying to give themselves the best possible chance because, as we mentioned earlier, the league is so tight. Armagh are only 2 points above Drumchapel Glasgow. So if Drumchapel Glasgow was able to win, that would mean that they would be level on points.
Yeah, it's really interesting, Connor, at this stage of the season to see, because this doubles now really becomes critical. It's 1-1. This is now right in the middle, a critical match.
You can just see in the background there also on table 2, EBAT against BATTS. EBAT are 4 points into the relegation zone, 2 behind Armagh, who are 2 behind Drumchapel. So for those guys who have brought a really strong squad this weekend in Ismaila Akindia, Simon Belik, Czech Republic international, as well as Nahom Askedom, who's had a quite impressive season so far, they'll be looking to keep their points ticking over.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the weekend pans out. And I wouldn't mind being Paul McCreary following up the Parel serve. Luckiest man in the room at this moment in time to have that absolute weapon of a service setting up your third ball.
But it is McKibben and Drinkle that get us underway with the first point claimed in this key fixture.
Interesting to see how this is a little bit of a warm-up for both Paul and Parel for the next singles to feel each other out. Obviously, they're no strangers to each other on the international stage.
I think the last time they played would have been in the Olympic men's qualifier final in Halmstad in 2016.
Don't remind me. As a good friend of Paul's, if I seem to remember rightly, I'm not sure that that result went his way. Similar standards, really. Both kind of world-class top 30 players. Similar careers. And it will certainly be an interesting matchup after this all-important doubles.
Speaking to Aaron McKibben after his match against Parel, and what was really interesting is he said that the disguise on those serves isn't actually what's so tricky. It's just understanding how much spin is on the ball. It's a lot more than what he's used to.
Yeah, that's it. And it's something you see at the better level. And I've been very, very fortunate to play with a lot of players who are much better than myself. Something me and Richie were discussing earlier. One flick of the wrist can be, the amount of backspin is incredible, and it takes time to adapt to that. And they can vary. It's not just chop and flow; it's how much chop. It can be 30%, 50%, 70%. So you're never comfortable.
On the internet, you might read that Parel won three straight against Aaron McKibben, but he certainly did himself proud. 2 sets, only 2 points in it.
Yeah, absolutely. I said it at the time. You know, there's no pictures on a scorecard, but Aaron really in that second end, if he'd have pinched that, it would have been interesting. He played some really good stuff, and the game was probably a little closer than that scoreline suggests. See there, Paul standing right over the table to receive serve, and the great world-class master coach Jiley, who sadly passed away recently. That was something he employed with Paul from a very early age in doubles, to look to receive right over the table.
Paul actually making a mistake on the McCreary serve there. I think this first end is really important, especially for the Drumchapel side. I think they don't want to be facing a deficit, leaving a lot to do on the table.
No, I agree. It's going to be tight and it's going to be edgy, and doubles matches are sometimes a lot more tactical than singles, and the way the players feel each other out. It's very much about keeping the opponent out in doubles more. You don't want to be giving your opponent a rocket from a Drinkle or Garel, that's for certain. And 7-all serving now, interestingly, the Garel serves to come. Great rally, fantastic rally away from the table. Yeah, fantastic relook there from Paul's hip.
I'd say quite interesting that Aaron's elected to receive the serve against Garel in the opening end.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously he's played in that first game. There could be a tactical thing there again if it goes to 5, who's going to be receiving the Garel serves at the business end of the match.
But also for me, if I'm playing doubles and I'm playing somebody in singles yet to come, I'd want to be the one receiving a little bit more, getting used to, especially somebody that's renowned for the serves a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, obviously the thing is, Paul and Per have practiced together. They've been around a long time. They've trained together in Sweden. They've played each other numerous times over the years. So they're no strangers to each other. You're right, Connor, but it's not like he's coming in completely cold. But then again, against the Parel serve, any advantage, if you can take it, you do.
2 game points for the Drumchapel side in this first end. Really positive play from Aaron and Paul, who combined quite successfully. The only doubles match they lost when they played in BATTS earlier this season was 2 BATTS, Josh Bennett and Isaac Kingham.
And that serve drifted along there, and I'm sure he's pleased it's a let. You don't want to be serving long to Paul Drinkle's forehand. Much better serve there, tight.
Parel makes the mistake.
Flick. Unlucky there. I think that flick was on. I think it was a shot to go for. Got to try and play positive and play your game and kind of remember what's put you there.
Something I speak to the kids that I coach quite a lot about. You know, if the ball's pushed high and you push it back, they're going to keep pushing. But even if you go for the topspin and make the mistake and you play the right shot, the opponent knows that they're going to be under pressure. They can't afford to keep going there with such ease.
Yeah, that's right. And certainly sometimes when you watch the international play, if a player misses a long push, it's because they're not used to that coming, and they won't miss a second one. You've got to look at that level to play positive and put the opponent under pressure at any opportunity.
Fantastic rally at 7-all in that first end.
Yeah, loop to loop away from the table. Something for all the family. We all like to see it. McCreary there open up with a strong backhand. Parel's shot there, I mean, just to get his bat on that and keep them in that rally at that point was so impressive. And back to the table now. And Drumchapel, really, if they can pinch this doubles end, then obviously Paul and Parel becomes a huge, huge match.
And even then, if Drumchapel are able to race into a 3-0 lead, the game isn't done.
No.
You know, the 2 matches that will be left to play between McKibben and Jinliang Sun, who we haven't seen yet on the table from Drumchapel.
An unknown quantity. I don't know a great deal about him, and looking forward to seeing what he's got.
Former BATTS University champion. Came over studying at the University of Nottingham from China. So obviously can play. He's beaten some players that play here, Felix Thomas, Ben Piggott, at the university games.
Yeah, I actually watched that match, Ben, in the final of the BATTS, and I was impressed with the Chinese youngster. He's got a rocket forehand topspin. He'll have a go on the backhand as well.
Yeah, he loves the backhand when it pops up high, especially stepping in.
Yeah. And very, very strong player indeed. Interesting there, Aaron just stepping around to receive that with the backhand. In doubles, you have the advantage of knowing where the serve, what half the table the serve will go, employing that backhand banana flick.
Nice early lead here for McKibben and Drinkle.
Yeah, it'd be fun if they can go 2 games up. They will be delighted, and this is a really, really even matchup from what I can see.
I think from Allman's perspective, they brought in Parel, who they're hoping can take his 2 singles. They combine to take the doubles, and then takes the pressure off McCreary and early to just chip in with 1 victory, which would secure the match.
Yeah, of course it does. I mean, I think both Paul and Parel, for Drumchapel and Ormo respectively, have been brought in to do a job, bringing in those strong players at kind of number 1. And it'll be interesting to see how that pans out. Bad miss there from Paul. He didn't miss many of those against me on Wednesday, let me tell you that. Lets him off the hook.
I think Paul would have been, his eyes would have lit up when he seen that ball come from distance, but just made the mistake there. Could have been a 4-point lead. That's a 2-point game.
Yeah, that's right. Soft hands there.
Very clever flick. He doesn't have to flick out hard and fast. Just guides the ball out, changes the pace, and McCreary's already stepped out thinking it was going to come with pace.
That's right, and he did that against Sophie in a single match as well, because you get so used to flicking hard, and the soft one becomes a weapon, becomes effective. Great topspin from McKibben there. Takes the ball early, rips it down the line. Really fast hands there. Very impressive indeed. 6-4-7. And they're just managing to keep that 2-point cushion throughout this end.
Just stood up there on the counter, didn't he? It wasn't quite in position.
Paul as well, yeah. Paul puts Aaron under pressure there. The serve just drifted long, and McCreary was able to get in with the first topspin.
Great flick.
Yeah, popped up there. Easy one for Parel. You won't see a player of his calibre missing too many of those. 6-all, and Ormo with the service. McKibben stepping around again, employing that backhand banana side spin flick, so prevalent in today's game. Wasn't invented when I played. I'm not a fan of that, Connor. To be honest, I don't like it. I tell the youngsters off for employing that against me, but so effective and so prevalent now at the top level. The guy's flicking almost any serve and putting the opponent under pressure.
I think what you mentioned earlier, obviously with the straight backspin serve being used, especially by Paul McCreary as well in this doubles game, it gives Aaron the opportunity to come round, brush the side of the ball, accelerate that wrist, and use the banana flick.
Yeah, what you can't do, if it's going to be backspin, it's got to be straight backspin. If it's backspin with a slight bit of side spin, it works with the angle of that banana flick. It's got to be either heavy side spin or straight backspin. Anything in between, the top players now all looking to flick and put the opponent under pressure. Oh, McKibben there just missed. Aaron will be disappointed with that. Did that go on?
Yeah, just a slight flip of the net there as the ball came through, made it unreturnable for Ormond.
My eye's not as young as he used to be. You see that there, just to Paul's body there. Much better placement. You can't afford to play the Drinkle forehand. If you get it, you've really got to find the body, which the jump trap will successfully do in there.
Jump Chapel with serving hand though now at 9-all. Can Aaron McKibben put this ball away if Paul's able to set him up nicely?
Paul needs to serve tight. Short serve. Oh, and Parel will be disappointed with that. Emergency push there to his forehand. Missed time in the ball. 10-9. Game point.
Huge point as well in this match.
Short float serve, I suspect. That's drifted long.
Great reloop from Aaron McKibben.
He's saved Paul's bacon there. Little half-long serve.
As we take a look back at the points played from 9-9, you mentioned there that mistake from Parel.
Yeah, that's right.
Excited to be rejoined by Richie Venner, Director of Table Tennis England. Richie, what do you make of this contest so far on Table 1?
Well, it's lining up to be a great match. I think it's 1-1 in the team match, so doubles is always, I think, important in these games. And obviously, Drum Chapel have jumped out to 2-0 lead. I still don't think it's all over. I think when you've got someone of Parel's class and stature in the opposition, there's always a chance that they could come back. So, yeah, interestingly poised, Connor.
You can see in the background there the posters advertise at the sponsor of the Ormsby Club, but also the sponsor of the official match ball this year, using the Butterfly R40. Aaron McKibben about to get us underway in this third end. Drum Chapel will be hoping that they can get this match secured. And another point on the board for Drum Chapel as we head into a huge fixture between the two number ones.
Yeah, not that I want to particularly jump ahead from the doubles, but the match between Paul Drinkle and Parel, I think everybody in the hall has been talking about it. It's certainly lined up to be the match of the day, to give a football term. But yeah, everyone's looking forward to that game.
So don't go anywhere. An exciting doubles contest on Table 1. Also a mouth-watering clash between Ormond's number 1 Parel and Paul Drinkle coming up very shortly. I think this is the first time at the start of the set that Ormond led in the whole match so far. And now, very quickly, they're now behind once again. I think what Drinkle and McKibben have been really good at so far is getting that lead and maintaining that lead.
Yeah, I mean, there's been two tight games, 11-8, 11-9. But it's just kind of always felt that they was just slightly on top.
What do you make of the Parel serve, Richie?
Yeah, it's certainly something I wouldn't want to face.
Although I don't think he'd be proud of that one as he makes a service error.
Yeah, he could do that against me any day. I'd be happy with that one if I was waiting at the other end.
Nice kicker.
He just seems to get so much spin there with so little effort.
I think the kicker's less effective here in the doubles because Aaron knows where the ball's coming, which is different to singles. You know, doubles you have to serve across. He's almost waiting with a bat up, ready, able to attack that ball and set Drinkle up effectively.
Yeah, it's so much easier to to return serves in doubles, you know it's coming straight. Most players wait to take it on their forehand. They know it's coming to that side of the table before it's served. And also, it's kind of doubles is set up for left-handers to serve their natural game, whereas right-handers are serving from a place they're not used to a place they're not used to.
Oh, no way. Aaron misses the easy ball, probably the rally of the match so far. Not quite sure how Parel just chopped that one back over with such ease. Insane feeling on display.
It's interesting, we talked earlier about the left-hand, right-hand combination being an advantage, but it's the two right-handers that are currently two games up and in the ascendancy. Taking the opportunity for a quick chow down every 6 points.
I think it's a really tactical one in the doubles as well. You're able to just talk to your partner ever so slightly in between the points and kind of plan out where you want that receive, where you want that serve, what spin you want on the ball. The communication in the doubles is really key. Something that Drinkle and Walker have spoken about, who have won several national titles together. It's that chemistry on the table, isn't it? McCreary and Parel probably won't have played together before this weekend.
Yeah, which means I'll probably have to have a quick chat about which singles people do under the table.
Fantastic read up there from Paul. Leveling the score at 7-all in this third end. As we take a closer look, our second angle. Just a solid block from Drinkle, just showing everybody at home there that you don't have to blast the ball to win the point, do you? Just keeping the ball on into the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I've always felt it's a very underestimated skill is to make sure that you keep putting the ball on the other side. I know a lot of youngsters, like juniors, I'm always more impressed to seeing how hard they can hit it. I'm always very, very impressed with someone that can regularly put the ball on the table.
Huge point in this match. 8-all. Drumchapel with 2 serves in hand, probably looking to take both of these if they can, so they don't have to face the Parel serve, which is coming up next. Wasn't able to do so.
Yeah, very unusual to see Paul Drinkle miss a forehand flick there.
Richie is somebody that's been involved in table tennis for a long time. You've seen Paul Drinkle come up. Why has he been so dominant in the sport over the years?
I mean, he was fantastic. He was talked about when he was, a very young teenager. Played for England from the age of 14. He's just got a really solid game. I think the main thing about Paul is, yes, he's got a very good forehand flick, but there is no weaknesses in his game. He serves well, he returns well, good backhand, good forehand. Arguably, you could say nothing is absolutely world class, but everything is just very, very solid.
Solid backhand there from Aaron McKibben down the line, keeping that ball really low over the net. Drinkle now probably looking to get in if he can. Not able to. Oh, fantastic placement from Aaron McKibben there. Really off the side of the table, making Paul McCreary do all the dog work. Forcing that mistake. Opportunity for Drumchapel to clinch this one. Drinkle just unable to make that forehand counter on. Great placement there. Spun to the crossover.
Okay, now the Parel serve. Here we go.
A clever serve. Didn't win the point outright, but just popped that ball up high enough to win the point. As we take a little closer look to Parel. Richie, somebody that you have watched over the years, obviously represented Sweden, 3 Olympic Games, I believe, and a former World Championships bronze medalist.
Yeah, I mean, he's an absolutely fantastic player. He's got incredible touch. As we've often said about his serves are world class. Just seems so relaxed, little effort in the shots, so much spin. And sometimes when you start being afraid of the amount of spin he gets, suddenly he puts no spin on it when you're least expecting it.
And obviously Richie, a director of Table Tennis England, Paul Drinkle representing England at the ITTF World Team Championships in London. How excited are you about that event?
The event is going to be fantastic. So if anyone's considering coming down for it, please buy a ticket. Please turn up in London for the Worlds. It's a centenary of the Worlds. We first hosted it in 1926. So the 2026 event will be absolutely fantastic. And you'll see this England men's team play against China, Sweden and South Korea in the groups. And I'm really looking forward to those matches.
I think really interestingly, speaking to Liam Pitchford and Paul recently, is just how important that home crowd was when they won the bronze medal back in 2018 at the Copper Box Arena. So I think if everybody could come and support the England team, really cheer them on to do amazing things. Interesting to see with the big home crowd here at Ormsby. Ormsby currently sit top of the table, looking to regain that trophy that they've won so many times in recent years. Could do it on home soil tomorrow in the last round where they face second place Brighton. But right now it's the relegation battle on table 1 we're focused on. Drumchapel currently placed 7th, second to the bottom. Almost 6th, only 2 points in it. Means this fixture is a huge one. And this doubles could be the all-important clash that sets Drumchapel on their way to survival.
Yeah, I mean, this is a fantastic event now. The Premier Division, the Senior British Clubs League. We've got all 8 teams here in the same venue. I think there's a bit of a buzz around the hall when there's so many teams here. There's so many great players in the hall, and there'll be so many great matches this weekend.
100%. I think it's really inspiring for young players to come and watch such high-level table tennis on so many tables everywhere you look. There's a point being played by 2 top quality players, either from Britain or from overseas. And also at the same time, it cheers the players on to do better when you hear the next table, your closest competitors are fighting 9-all in the 5th and really vocal, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. And we've got matches going on, 2 matches today, 2 matches tomorrow. So if you're in the Middlesbrough area and you want to see some top-class table tennis, come down and watch.
Huge rally. Fantastic control there from Drinkle, just using the wrist to come round the side of the ball and hook that ball off the corner. If you aren't able to come and join us in person here at Ormsby Table Tennis Club, you can watch online all weekend, where all 4 rounds will be streamed. Match coming up later today, BATTS versus Drumchapel. Another bottom of the table affair.
Yeah, 6-3 to Drumchapel now. Want to be pulling away and finishing this match off now.
Mistake there on the receive means Ormo are still in this game, only 2 points adrift. I think there's a little bit of pressure on Paul Drinkle here, especially on the third ball attack. You know, somebody of Paul's quality, is he really trying to look to get in and win the point so that the rally doesn't prolong, or do you think he's just playing with quality and hoping to set Aaron up as well?
Yeah, I think there's always a pressure because he's like the highest ranked player in the hall. So therefore, when you know that should be the main man on the table in the doubles, there is that extra pressure on for you to win it. But I think Aaron has played absolutely fantastic in this match alongside him. But yes, an interesting contest with Parel serving to Paul Drinkle.
Great rally there. Can Parel level the match with another of his famous serves, pops the ball up, and McCreary is able to come in and flick. McCreary obviously hasn't played in the singles yet, but he will take on Jinliang's son, Ori's son from Drumchapel, Glasgow, and those 2 met earlier in the season on the very first weekend up in North Ayrshire, with McCreary coming out on top. So a very tactical decision for McCreary to play at number 3 in this match, maybe.
Yeah, it's interesting the way the tactics work. Obviously, the number ones have to play at number 1, but after that, you then can choose which of your squad members play at 2 and 3. So there's lots of tactics going on, trying to work out what the opposition are doing and what you're doing, so you can have the matchups that you want based on results from the past.
I think sometimes, especially in this doubles, when the rally has gone on a couple of extra more balls, McCreary has kind of made a mistake, and I think it's because he's not played a singles yet. He's not as warm as the other three players that are on the court, jumping up there on that last forehand.
Yeah, it is a bit of a, in some ways, a disadvantage if you haven't played a singles game. I mean, the other three players on the court have already played a singles match, and Paul has come into this doubles cold.
Oh, fantastic reloop there from McCreary. Just changing that pace, taking that ball earlier, stepping in, making that ball come too fast for McKibben to get there. We'll take a look at that one again later on. 2 game points now for the Ormau side. Could they force a 5th set here?
Well, they're looking favourites for it. I thought when I saw the lineup, this was a 50-50 match, so I wouldn't be at all surprised if it does go to 5. But we're
Famous
saying
Paul Drinkle forehand flick.
The wonderful forehand flick the Paul Drinkle possesses there.
We did a challenge at the Senior Nationals, I think a couple of years back, asking players to build their perfect player, asking who they would give for their forehand flick, and every single player in the hall said Paul Drinkle.
Yeah, I would have definitely voted for Paul Drinkle that day.
But it was the heavy spinner Paul Drinkle there at 10-9 that has levelled this match up on table 1. Aaron just a bit passive, but actually that change of pace, Garan had run away from the table, now brings up their first match point. A huge point as well for the Drumchapel team.
This is huge for Drumchapel.
Great flick. Oh, Paul will be disappointed to make a mistake there.
Yeah, I thought we took the pace off it a bit. I thought we tried too hard to keep it on and kind of went 75% at it rather than 100%.
Clever from Parel. Running across to try and cover that backhand. Actually played into the middle. Just adding a little bit of backspin there. Coming across the ball slightly. Making the Drumchapel player put the ball in the net.
He's got wonderful touch, hasn't he, Bergerell?
Oh, and they've done it. Managed to level the game. Take us to a 5th and final end as we look back at one of the best points in this match so far. Richie, where do you see this game taking us in the 5th end?
Wow, it's almost impossible to call. I think the only prediction I'm going to say is it's going to be very, very close in the 5th because there's nothing between these two pairs.
A nice reloop, isn't it, from Paul McCreary there? Let's take a look at some of the fixtures we're looking forward to this weekend. Any fixtures that stand out for you, Richie? Maybe the Ormsby versus Brighton clash in round 14, the very last match of the season for both of those clubs. First place in the table coming into this weekend against second place, where the title will be decided.
Well, that's the match of the weekend, first v second. I think everyone's looking forward to that one. Hoping, depending on how results go, that could well be the title decider. I hope that it is. I hope it is a title decider because that would be a wonderful finish to the season in the Premier Division.
Both sides have to take on BATTS, who are currently placed 3rd, but are actually having a tough time right now against EBAT. EBAT being led by Simon Belik. We saw him on the first weekend in North Ayrshire, former Czech Republic international, European youth medalist, very experienced player, and we'll see him play Paul Drinkle this afternoon. Another match I'm really looking forward to.
So many good players in the hall. So many good matches coming up.
I think every single team employs a foreign player except Fusion, who all train at the club, which is really impressive. 5 homegrown players in the squad throughout the season that have rotated and really done the club proud, actually. They could still be relegated on paper, but it's very unlikely with the clubs in the relegation zone playing against each other.
Yeah, I think there's too many teams below Fusion in the league. And it is great what Fusion are doing there in London, bringing on their home-based players. And it was great to see Larry Trumpauskas do so well at the Senior National Championships recently.
Ormal themselves, 2 players that practice at the club. Sophie Early did most of her practicing and training at Ormal, and Paul McCreary obviously still practices there over in Ireland. But a timeout called from the Ormal side, as they're 3 points to the good in this 5th and final end. What do you think Ormal have to do, Richie, to get back in this one?
Yeah, I think in some ways, that their star player is Parel. I think he just needs to take the lead, take the initiative, and get in hard and get in often. Yeah, he is the star player on their team, and Paul Creary's got to do his best to assist him.
If you're just joining us, this is a huge game between Ormal and Drumchapel. 6th versus 7th in the table. Paul not able to make that backhand on, but the current score between the two teams is 1-1. Drinkle defeating Sophie Early and Parel defeating Aaron McKibben, both with a 3-0 scoreline.
Yeah, great look there from Paul Drinkle.
Let us know which is your favourite angle to watch from. Is it the close-up angle, or do you like being able to see the full court? Let us know in the comments below. Also, let us know which team you think will come out on top in this encounter. Aaron, a bit disappointed there with that one. I'm sure he'll probably be frustrated. Could have been in a 4-point lead. Changing ends in the 5th set at 5-1 is always a key advantage, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes one way round is suitable for each of the pairings, but this match so far, because Drumchapel were 2-0 up and almost brought it back to 2-2. Both pairs have won each way round, so it doesn't seem to be an advantage.
Don't think that's a serve that's been brought out yet from Parel.
Yeah, there just seems to be so much spin on that ball. Good
Fantastic push though.
Yeah.
Followed up really well from Paul Drinkle. To me, that's one of the standout points so far in this 5th set. That was a fantastic receive.
Yeah.
Really coming round the ball, closing the angle, coming down on the ball, getting lots of backspin, which means McCreary had to spin the ball up. And there's not many people that you can spin up to like that, and certainly not Paul Drinkle.
No, absolutely. It was a great point. So we've changed ends, we've changed the order. So let's see how that goes now.
When McKibben goes for that forehand reloop, he's just not quite there, is he? Sometimes, the ball just being placed outside of where his hand is, not quite moving to the ball, causing the mistake. Another great point on display. Drinkle actually making the mistake this time. Parel hitting the line.
Yeah, Parel got him with a great forehand, and Paul tried to hook it off the angle and just missed. Nice spinny backhand from Paul McCreary there.
And the tide has turned. This is the first time in this 5th end at 6-5 that the Ormal side are in front. And now we've seen the timeout called from Drinkle and McKibben.
Let's get started.
Yeah, timeouts are important. If you think of the timeout that Ormo called at 3-love, when they were 3-love down, they're now 6-5 up. So we'll see if Drumchapel's timeout has been equally as important. They're now 6-5 down. Can they turn it around?
A huge point coming up, I think. If Ormal can start to race away, this will be really, really vital for the Ormal side. Actually, a match that's vital for both of the teams. I think Drumchapel have to beat Ormal if they are to survive this season, to survive the drop.
Yeah, I agree. I think when you're right down there near the bottom, I know they're not quite bottom, but nobody wants to get relegated. Everybody is really keen to stay in this division, which is why all the bottom teams have been putting out the big guns for the last weekend.
And in previous seasons, we've seen the teams from the Championship not elect to come up to the Premier Division, even though they have won it outright. But this season, both teams really excited at the chance to come up and play in the Premier Division.
I think the new format of playing weekends has really invigorated the division, and now everybody. It seems to me that everybody wants to be in it.
It's fantastic to see so many talented players, both homegrown and from overseas, competing here in the BCL Premier Division, and I think it's only going to help grow the game even further.
Yeah, I think we've got a lovely mix of foreign players and domestic players here, and I think it does our domestic players, an advantage to be playing against some, world class foreign players.
Fantastic inside-out forehand there from Paul Drinkle, and Paul Drinkle, a signing that is so key because having Paul Drinkle in the team, being from England, somebody of his quality, means you could bring in a foreign player alongside Paul Drinkle, just boosting your squad, like Ormsby do, having both David Macbeth and Jose Enio Mendes playing in the same team.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage if you can get one of the top English players in his team alongside a foreign international. Here we go. 8-all, anybody's game, and it's absolutely critical.
Two match points brought up for Ormal. This is a huge, huge match, I think. And I think Drumchap will be very disappointed to be leading so clearly in the fifth end and also to be 2-0 up in this one. A player of Paul Drinkle's experience won't like to lose this one.
Especially as they had 2 match points themselves at 10-8 in the last game.
And there it is. It's a victory for Ormal, Paul McCreary and Parel. I think Parel might get a little bonus for that one. Digging the team back out and now into a 2-1 lead. An all-important 2-1 lead, actually, as the two number ones will go head-to-head. It gives that little bit of a cushion, doesn't it?
Well, I think it's interesting. I think they've brought in Parel to hopefully win his 2 singles and the doubles. He's done 2/3 of that so far. But the big question now is, can he beat Paul Drinkle in the next match?
And back now with me, Steve Bailey, and Richie Venner for this match. Thank you very much, Connor, there for keeping the seat warm. Looking at this one with McCreary and son. McCreary, almost homegrown boy. Started very young in Northern Ireland, coached by Andy Dennison, former Northern Ireland international. Been around a long time now, Paul, experienced player. Came through the ranks, was a good junior player, and now still making his mark at senior level, competing at the highest level in Britain.
So we've just seen Paul play in the doubles, so he's just had 5 ends, so he should be nicely warmed up. But this is the first time that Son's played. Interesting. I haven't seen a lot of him, so be interesting to see how this game goes.
Yeah, that's it, Richie. And obviously, very typically of a Chinese player, kind of technically very strong, very solid. That kind of coaching and good technique instilled from a young age. So it'll be interesting to see how this fares up. McCreary there straight in with that forehand to the middle forehand. Yeah, he'll have to play his way into this game. It's the first time we've seen him. Let's see what he's capable of. Paul obviously has the advantage of already having played in the doubles.
Yeah, it's interesting. On most players in their first game, they've all started a little bit slowly, and Son has started a little bit slowly here.
Yeah, that's right. But you know yourself, Richie, at this level, they've been there and done it. They won't panic. Play the way in and get going. It's early days, and I'm sure that once he gets going, we're going to see what he's capable of. McCreary races into a 4-point lead, Son to serve.
Yeah, seemed to misread. I think there might have been a float serve. I think Paul misread that and put it long.
Floated in half, Richie. Floated in half. Yeah, good strong follow up there with the flick as well. Let's see what he's capable of when he settles.
Yeah.
Two float serves in a row there. That pops up. He looks to be not short of speed. And McCreary to serve now with a reverse serve short forehand. Unforced error. That won't do him any favours. Yeah, he's found a couple of cheap points there so far. McCreary just with a slow deep spin to Son's backhand.
Not quite interesting technique, Paul. It's quite a short stroke. Most players have a longer stroke. Certainly the Chinese players normally have a really a long stroke on their technique and forehand loop.
Yeah, I think it's very kind of reliant on his wrist. You just see at that last second there what he lacks in the longer stroke. He has a fast accelerating wrist at the contact point. That's why he's able to get that quality. And he's certainly found what appears to be possibly an early weakness in playing backhand to backhand there with Son. Although very early doors. And looking the reverse serve again, short forehand. Yeah, that's maybe what he's a little bit worried about. You just saw there, good receiver, Son right to the hip. McCreary spins up, emergency topspin, and re-loop from the forehand side. Could be what he looks to do as this game goes on. And Paul just stepping around there, not quite in the right place.
Yeah, Son seems to have warmed up. Slow start, 4-0 down, but he's got it back to 6-all.
Yeah. Okay, good emergency block there from McCreary. Son in with that strong backhand topspin. Chinese usually have good serves, having practiced them from a young age to a large degree, sometimes much stronger than the European kind of counterparts. Practicing service almost every session, every day in China, from what I've been told by people who visited and trained there. And yeah, this is going to be a lot closer than what it initially looked. The Son looks to stamp his authority on this game and get into the match. Yeah, well played, Paul McCreary. Yeah, 2 good strong topspins there. Great placement, one to the backhand, then one to the middle. So important at this stage, you don't just play to the players middle, backhand and forehand, and all these players will look to exploit the weakness in the crossover point to create the opening for the winner. Unforced error on receiver serve there that McCreary will be disappointed with.
Yeah, just got mistiming, top edged it.
Yeah, Son's not shy going for that backhand. I just wonder if that's going to be something that gets going as this game goes on, Richie.
Yeah, I mean, from Paul's point of view, he doesn't want Son to warm up that backhand.
Absolutely
That
not.
looks like a huge stroke if it goes on.
Yeah, that's it. Reverse service again. Yeah, that's certainly brave at tanning it up, long reverse serve to the backhand. Obviously, the reverse pendulum service, the spin going with the backhand shot. Not often we see that. Generally, long and fast is the surprise element, and gets that one game to the good there. You just get a feeling that Son has got a little bit more gas in the tank.
Yeah, saying that, I was very impressed with Paul in that game. I think he's got very good serves. I like the reverse serve short to the forehand.
Yeah.
And he's got a lot of variation on it. A couple of times he's popped up and put a forehand away. I think Son missed a few, certainly early on in that game. But I think, he's just warming up, and this is sort of turning out to be a very interesting match now.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously this end becomes even more critical because the doubles has gone the way of Ormo, even though the Drum Chopper boys were 2-0 up. So if Paul can pinch this, then Ormo are looking in a very strong position indeed, because they've still got Parel to come, the clash of the number ones, the clash of the Titans. So I think it'll be very interesting. Let's switch camera angle to the side table. Let's just see if we can see a little bit more of Son's forehand there. And McCreary unlucky there. I think he'll look to do that. Loose push from Son, and McCreary looking for the strong backhand topspin loop. Take the initiative. It looks like a good tactic to me, even though that time was a mistake. And we're seeing this, Richie, this short serve to the forehand from Paul again and again.
And I think what it does is you get your opponent leaning in, and that's when sometimes you can come out with the long fast one to the backhand when they least expect it.
Yeah, obviously opens up the table as well. You bring the opponent across on the forehand, opens up the three-quarter table on the backhand side.
It's good to see the different angle. Gives you a better chance to see what's happening with serves, especially from the player at this end.
Yeah, and you see Son there. Just look at that contact point. Look at the speed of his arm when he's contacting that. Chop and float serves. The only thing that will change is where he contacts the ball. The arm speed. He did one chop serve and then float when it pops up. He gets the ball he wants. Coming off the side of the table. I think if Paul is serving short forehand, I think he needs to probably look to not let it drift too often with a guy of his calibre. And there we go. That's been a winning tactic throughout. You saw that in the first end. McCreary serves short with backspin. He turns the slower, heavy ball into the middle of Son. He's a lot of success with that, Richie. I think that's going to be something we see more and more.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Paul's serve so far.
Fast wrist there on the serve. You can just see the way he's really attacking that ball on serves. This angle absolutely shows that. A little bit of side spin on that. A little bit of a hook side spin serve. Oh, he got the receive he wanted. Little topspin serve. McCreary misreads it, touches tight, pops up. He gets away with that one, Paul, but he'll be happy to take those. You see Paul there, I think he's really varying his receives well. He keeps doing this little fast, sudden, last-minute long push to the backhand side. Doesn't want to let Son settle.
Yeah, he's doing that variation. He received twice there. One short to the forehand, one long to the backhand, and won both points.
Yeah, absolutely. McCreary not always going for the big rocket third ball topspin. He's varying it up and doing some heavy spins in there. Great switch. And that's the thing, if you play two balls to the same place against these guys, be prepared for them to make it difficult. Yeah, that backhand holding shot there from Son looks to be very, very solid. I think McCreary's better off spinning heavy to his body if he can. And there we see he's in quick. And I think that's the way. Get in first and pressure this young Chinese player.
Yeah, lovely return there from Paul. Ran round.
It's back to camera angle one. See things from the advantageous forehand side. From the viewing perspective. Yeah, you've highlighted this, Richie. Paul's serve's really effective. He's either getting a receive that he wants, or he's getting a point straight from service.
It's got lovely variation on it, short to the forehand, and there's a lot of spin on it.
Yeah. 6-9. He really needs this one. Yeah, in there with that backhand is just looking like he's starting to get going a little bit off the push ball. He missed a few early doors, but he's settling now.
Yeah, he's warmed up that backhand. He's just hit 2 backhand winners.
Yeah, slow and heavy again. That's a great tactic that, Paul really showing here that you don't have to play that first rocket topspin. The variation in the heavy spin can be very effective. And 3 match points now in 7. Yeah, it's a great counter loop there. And again, Paul has been winning point after point going in the middle. He went to the forehand there, and we see why. Because the reloop from the young Chinese star was very strong indeed. And there we see it again. That's that big forehand which you were talking about, long stroke, generating lots of power.
Big point coming up. Paul could really do with this and get a 2-0 lead here.
Yeah, great play. Under pressure there, just that last little switch. He saw some move over to play the forehand reloop and just slid him down the line to the backhand side. And Paul McCreary at this stage looking good and almost looking very good.
Yeah, it'd be 2 very tight games, and Paul's taken them both. Especially that second one could have gone either way, but Paul's come out, won at 11-9. There was signs, I think, that Sun was warming up, started hitting some good backhands towards the second half of that game.
Yeah.
But I think Paul's dominating with serve and third ball at the moment. It's very, very effective. His very spinny serves, short to Sun's forehand. He's paying off and getting him a lot of points.
Yeah, that's it. He's varying the serves. The service is good, and then when he gets in, mixing up where he puts it, heavy spin on his third ball. And Sun is not as confident. You get the feeling that he wants it quicker. He's the quicker of the two. But McCreary tactically there, just spinning the ball up and varying that pace and not letting him settle.
I think the pressure's now on Son, and I think if it had gone to 1 game all, I think Son maybe would have calmed down, and his game may have progressed to being a little bit more relaxed. But now at 2-0, he's got no room to manoeuvre. He has to win the next 3 games.
Yeah, that's it. The pressure's on now, and almost certainly the Ormo bench is confident. 2-1 up in the match. McCreary 2-0 up, albeit 2 tight games. Sun to serve. Long service there. McCreary in with that spin. Yeah, I get the feeling as the rally goes on like that, maybe the Chinese guy Sun is at an advantage. Oh, unlucky. Came across playing that modern backhand receive from the middle side. 20 years ago, Richie, they've been shouting at your coach for that, but
I think 20 years ago, the coach would have thought you mishit it.
yeah, absolutely. And I probably did. Yeah, just if the point speeds up, I think Sun is at an advantage. Paul's better behind his serve with the slower, heavy placed well topspin. Here comes a reverse serve again, short forehand. Yeah, and there it is, just finding that middle forehand area. Really impressed with McCreary's tactical play. And long serve there, McCreary in. He manages to win that point away from the table on the ropes. He'll take that. I think he needs to keep Sun's forehand quiet, Rich. I think that's the order of the day.
Yeah, I think he's found Son's forehand very good. Not his backhand's bad.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a fantastic rally and advantage of that. Son possibly the stronger move of the two. Looks to take the ball a little bit earlier.
All right, open serving short to the forehand. Is he going to carry on doing that?
A little bit of variation, straight chop with the backhand. Yeah, and this is where Paul has won so many points. He gets the receive he wants off his serve, and a clever timeout called from the Drumchapel bench, and I'd be doing the same. 2 games down, 5-2 down with a serve to come. And the story of this match really has been McCreary with a variety of serves, then getting in with the variation, the well-placed heavy topspin, sometimes to the middle, sometimes to the backhand, and winning what could be classed as relatively cheap points, employing that tactic.
There is a theory that you should take timeouts on your own serve So a chance to talk to your coach about what serves you should do. So interesting, he's done it at 5-2 on Paul McCreary's serve.
Yeah, I just think if I'm on the Drumchapel bench there as the coach, he's 2 games down, he's 5-2 down, and got a serve to come. 2 games and 6-2 down is suddenly looking like a strong uphill battle.
Yeah.
So I think that's what's in the mind of the Drumchapel coach there, Richie. But McCreary obviously critically with that 1 serve still to come. Looks like the reverse. Maybe not. No, he's gone pendulum. Look to the backhand there. Yeah. And that's the weaker wing, I think. And Paul is managing to exploit that at this moment in time.
Yeah, it's a big swing, big backhand swing from Sun. And if your timing's slightly out, it's going to go off. But if your timing's on, it's going to look fantastic.
Yeah, it's a 50-50 shot. It's either a winner or it's off the table, whereas McCreary's is steadier. Look again there, that heavy topspin is definitely... He's not playing that quick ball on purpose. He's playing with heavy spin all the time. You see it again, slow and heavy. And then gets in the rally. And just looking like he's coasting to a win here. Sun has left himself too much to do, I'm afraid, after 2 first tight games.
Yeah, Paul is clearly playing the vast majority of shot to Sun's backhand, which clearly he sees as the weaker side.
Yeah. And that heavy spin is just not letting Sun play with that speed. It's preventing him from playing with the speed that he wants to play with. Great rally, fantastic. Yeah. You see there that quick ball, that change to the forehand, and Sun right off the bounce. Strong forehand topspin, definitely his favoured wing. Really impressed with the way that Paul's managed to keep that quiet and keep that out of the game and limit how effective he is with it. Back in the backhand exchange. Paul needs to be careful here. From being 8-2 up, suddenly 5-8. Could there be a timeout from the Ormo bench?
Yeah, I wouldn't be too surprised with timeout coming, especially if Sun wins the next point.
Oh,
I think Paul got away with one there.
Let off. Sun got exactly the receive he wanted. Popped up. Surprise shock error. Fantastic rally. Paul staying in the match. Blocking, yeah. I think there critically he's done that loop again straight to Sun's forehand, giving him an opportunity. I think he needs to look for that middle ball. Fantastic receive there, just very positive from Sun. The serve a little bit too short, too close to the net. Easier to flick.
He's certainly not giving this up lightly, Sun. He's come back from 8-2 to 9-7. He's walking his way back into the game.
And serving. Yeah, you see there, that's that forehand stroke you were talking about earlier, Richie. Classic forehand swing from the heels technique.
Yeah. Just shows how effective the timeout's been in the end. He was 3 points down at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Although Paul now 10-8 and serving. Will we see the reverse serve shot forehand?
If it was down to me, I'd be going back to the reverse shot to the forehand.
And then looking for the heavy spin.
Yeah, I don't think he's staying with the pendulum.
And there it is, the heavy spin ball, and it's been a gold mine all match. And Paul there utilising that experience and just thinking, okay, 2 opportunities, back to what I know has won the point, throws the ball up in the air, additional topspin, deep to the Sun backhand, and the block off the end of the table. And Ormo now Richie in a really commanding position in this match.
Yep, that puts Ormo 3-1 up in the match. I'm really hugely impressed with Paul McCreary there. To take out Sun 3-0.
Yeah.
Hugely impressive performance from Paul.
Very controlled performance. Big smile on Parel's face. He's happy with proceedings. Takes a little bit of the pressure off him now. And the clash of the number ones. Probably, in my opinion, the best 2 players in the hall. In terms of standard both previously and possibly currently as well. Certainly still got the class, although ageing stars now. Paul Drinkle and Parel.
Yeah, it's probably fair to say that the best days are probably behind both of them, but that doesn't still make them not fantastic players.
Yeah,
and this is going to be some fantastic match coming up.
See if they can roll back the years.
Steve, do you want to tell us a little bit about Paul, obviously about his career?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, very privileged to come through the Ormsby Club with Paul when we were youngsters. I'm a little bit older than him, though he probably looks older. Well, that's what I tell him anyway. First time he picked up a bat, you could see he was a spectacular talent. And by the age of 9, he was already one of the best under-12s in the country and in Europe, and really had a stellar career. Came through the ranks of the Ormsby Club, initially coached by Parel, and then moved on to the England squad, coached mostly by Jai Liu. Sadly, unfortunately, no longer with us, and a world-class coach. And triple European champion, Paul, at the junior level, 7-time national champion, world team cup bronze medalist and world bronze medalist, and slowly transitioning now into coaching and sharing that vast experience with the youngsters.
And what about his opponent, Parel? Obviously, really impressive in his first game against Aaron McKibben and unbeaten in England this season.
Yeah, absolutely blessed with a golden touch, left-handed, master of the hook serve. Seems to always have a lot of time on the ball and anticipation, which is a mark of sheer class. Enjoyed a very good career in his own right. Certainly like a top 30 world ranked player in Sweden, many times Swedish champion, and he'll be looking to win the points quickly, I would think, against Paul. Employ that serve and the variation as much as he can. Can serve from almost any spot with a huge variety of spin. And the interesting thing about is how much spin he puts on the ball. 100% backspin, 7%, 30%, or complete float. He's always varying it, and he's got the kicker serve as well. So a really interesting clash coming up. I'm seeing there that timing on his forehand so relaxed.
Obviously, Ormo are now in a 3-1 lead, which means they just need 1 out of the next 3 matches.
Commanding position, a nice position for Parel to come into this game, which is the anticipated one people are talking about. But 3-1 to the good certainly puts the pressure on Mr. Drinkle's shoulders. Let's see if he can respond in what is a must-win clash. And they're out to serve first. No hook serve that time, pendulum service. Fantastic rally. I'm sure Parel will look to stop Paul playing that strong forehand topspin as often as he can. That's certainly a very strong shot indeed. Nice touch player on the net. There we see it again. 1-1, that one just going long. A little bit of question on if it was edge or side. I think it brushed the table. Player's not too sure.
See if we can get a better angle and listen into the conversation.
Yeah, Paul's saying that from where he took the ball, he's not sure it can touch the side. He thinks it was an edge.
And Parel, great sportsmanship, has given him the point.
Sportingly gives him the points. Great to see.
Misses his famous Paul Drinkle forehand flick there on that one.
Yeah, a little bit more quality there from Parel. Got that great touch, a little bit of backspin, just cutting underneath the ball, and Paul not reading that at that time. And I think tactically this will be a really interesting match, as well as some rallies for the spectators. And there we see the Parel serve. Paul definitely getting away with that one. Short serve, Paul thinking it's backspin. Cuts around the side of the ball, tops him serve from Parel, and unlike him, misses the follow-up.
Oh, that's a fantastic backhand from Paul Drinkle. Really coming around the side of the ball on that one, getting a fantastic angle into the wide forehand.
Yeah, of course, and against the left-hander, if you can find that, and vice versa, Parel against Paul, it does open up that angle. If you can get that backhand moving quickly across the table.
Seems to me like Garel wants that third ball attack, if not fifth, and anything after that, he just kind of drops away from the table. He's not looking to get into the rallies, like you said. He's trying to win the point outright, and therefore he's making quite a few mistakes against the Drinkle quality.
Yeah, that's right. And if Paul stays up to the table with the natural explosive power that he's blessed with, as we see there, it can be difficult for Parel. He stayed in the rally that time. But certainly if the game goes that way, the rallies go that way, if I'm Paul's coaching his corner, I'm pretty pleased to see that. The Garel serves to come 2-6 down. And there's the hook serve. What's on that? Paul reads it very well, takes it early.
Oh, that's nice from Paul Drinkle. Great control.
And that's just what we've been talking about, Connor. If he stays up, he has a great opportunity.
You are going to make some mistakes on that Parel serve because it is difficult to judge how much spin is on that ball. I was speaking to Aaron McKibben after their match earlier this morning, and he said the disguise isn't that great, but anticipating how much spin is on each of the serves is very difficult.
Yeah, and it takes real ability to be able to do that rather than just a chop or float serve or a topspin or chop serve. To be able to vary it to that degree takes fantastic feeling and technique.
Someone of Drinkle's level, he doesn't look to be struggling with the serves the same way that Aaron McKibben was, and therefore he is in those rallies that little bit longer. And if you're Parel, probably not looking forward to the quality that's on them balls in the rally from Paul Drinkle.
Yeah, and obviously Paul's got the experience of playing him numerous times previously, whereas Aaron, that could have been the first time he's played him. So Paul has the advantage of having faced these serves before. Great rally away from the table there. Topspin to topspin.
Oh, rally of the match so far, definitely.
Great rally, and Parel just managed to clip at the top of the net there, but a great backhand topspin regardless.
Man forward to Drinkle in this first end.
No, he'll be happy with this as starting, but I think we'll see a little bit more of Parel as this match gets going. Paul's been able to impose his strong attacking game on him early doors. Focused. And Parel away from the table there. And Paul dumps that one in there. What's he thinking? Lets him off the hook. But again, if I'm the coach, I'm pleased with how the points are looking tactically. Garel's away from the table. Paul's in control, even though he lost that point.
Really, really great to see two legends of the game playing here at the BCL Premier Division, isn't it? Fantastic for all the spectators that are in the room. And I've got to say, there's a nice number of spectators in the hall for the first round on Saturday morning.
Wow.
Huge rally.
And that is got to be the rally of the match so far. Both guys there rolling back the ears.
Both just having a sit down now before they play the next point.
I think I need to sit down, Paul, after watching that.
Parel with two serves at 9-7.
7-9. Paul wants one of these. Yeah, the flick there to the middle. He was brave there. He's touched that topspin serve short a couple of times. It's popped up, so they're just taking a guess and playing positive. Flicking at the Parel body. I think this one will be short topspin again. We'll see. Yeah, and there it is. Parel went for the short topspin the Drinkle for, and Paul flicks down the line. Was brave on both of those serves. Got his just desserts.
Obviously, we've got a Sweden versus England clash on table one here today between Drinkle and Parel. And Drinkle will be playing for the England men's team at the ITTF World Team Championships. He's been selected alongside Tom Jarvis, Sam Walker, Joe Hunter and Connor Green, and they play Sweden in the group. Steve,
yeah, absolutely.
What do you think about that clash that's coming up on
later
this month?
Yeah, fantastic. And obviously, Sweden, famously one of the world's most famous nations in table tennis. They've always had strength and depth, and they've always had world-class players. And I think the English guys will be licking the lips to go up against those. Obviously, we're unsure of the Sweden squad selected, or I am, but I would imagine you will see Truls Morgard.
Correct.
Golden Hands, one of the most talented players in the world. Fantastic to watch.
Truls selected alongside
Kjellberg, let me guess.
Correct.
And Christian Carlsen.
Correct. Can
Matthias
you name the last two? Matthias Carlsen, as he now goes by once again.
Okay, so he's gone back from Falk to Carlsen, and the fifth, you're going to have to educate me.
Elias Ranifer.
Okay. So yeah, two teams on paper, and there'll be some mouth-watering clashes there, to be honest. Although whenever Truls Morgard plays, it's always an amazing game to watch.
Truls and Tom know each other quite well from their time in Sweden. We're practicing over there in Eslov.
Yeah, that's it, and that always makes it more interesting when two players are so familiar with each other's games. For the fans, tend to get the longer rallies. Paul with a serving mistake there. First point, but one game to the good and serving. He'll be confident. Yeah, and there he is. Just Parel, I think, will be looking as the game goes on to stop Paul getting in with that first ball. The amount of topspin Paul gets with such a short action is just, it's really difficult to receive. And now we see it again, the serve just drifting. Paul in with that forehand. Oh wow, world class. Absolutely world class. This is another thing that Paul's game that not everybody, he sees the ball so early, and that allows him to suddenly just wrong foot Parel there. I think as the game goes on, we'll see Parel try to find the Drinkle backhand a little bit more. It's not as heavy as his forehand. Paul there now just
raced into a nice early lead at 4-2 in his second
4-2,
game.
but interestingly, with the Garel serves to come, and from this angle, we really see the Parel service.
Fantastic angle for those at home watching, and a real masterclass on how to serve that jab serve, that shovel serve.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really comes around the ball, doesn't it? And it's just that wrist action on contact at the final second. Look at that one.
Yeah, that one you see, you can see from this angle. Unfortunately, Paul won't be able to, but just rolls around the top and side of the ball, and that's what generates that kick and forces the error from Drinkle. Now 4. Short float that time, yeah, absolutely. That's one of Paul's best serves. What would be normally to the right hand is wide forehand, obviously there to the Garel backhand, that straight chop and float serve.
Obviously, Steve, you'll know Paul's serve better than I do, but looking at Paul's serve, that straight backspin one and that straight float one, the benefit of those serves and what makes them really, really effective for Paul is how similar the two look. There's a difference in the spin, but they look the exact same, so you never know whether it's float or whether it's backspin.
Yeah, that's it. And also the length tends to be second bounce white line. So it's difficult to keep it tight because it's further away from the net. It's not easy to flick, you're not sure. And with the same action, you can also do the long chop serve, what would be to the backhand against Parel at the beat of his forehand. So it's a tricky serve that sets his game up very, very well.
See Paul finding that wide forehand of Pargel's once again on the backhand there, don't we? Just changing the pace as well. He doesn't always go fast. Sometimes just rolling over the top of the ball, getting a little bit more feel and a little bit more spin.
Yeah, and a characteristic when you watch Paul play, because he's a power player, the first couple of points players will naturally step back to receive the third ball. So then the short spinny ball becomes more effective. And Paul looking to flick that. That was a little bit of a longer touch from Parel. Difficult to flick the long ball. Needed to be in with the forehand topspin really. 6-7 down now. He wants one of these. Doesn't want to be 2 down against the 2 serves of Parel to come.
Makes a mistake on that third ball.
Yeah, and I think
you mentioned it earlier. Parel is trying to find that backhand of Paul Drinkle's a little bit more. But also, if Paul Drinkle's looking to step round that backhand, it then opens up the wide forehand for a left-hander, doesn't it? So it's quite a
exactly
risk.
it. That's exactly it. And Paul's best shot is his forehand from his backhand side. So Parel, he's trying to make him play backhand from the backhand side. Hence why he's slipping him wide forehand now and then to try to stop him from moving around. And that's a tactical battle that will continue. Parel now 8-7 and serving. Will we see the hook serve? Yeah, topspin, I think. And well in. Oh, gets away with that one. Well intended from Parel. Got in first with the backhand topspin. Paul did well to reloop.
I think what we're seeing is, especially from Drinkle's side, is something I speak about to my players quite often, is if somebody's got that weaker backhand, you've got to make them play wide forehand first.
That's right.
Then go into the wide backhand. Otherwise, they are looking to step round and be aggressive.
Yeah, that's it. And you've got to just be very clever with that first ball placement and vary it up.
Let's take a closer look as Drinkle trails 9-8. Great half-long pickup, but that backhand straight into the wide forehand of Garel. Actually, no spin that time, a little bit of a flatter punch.
Yeah, Parel did nothing wrong there, actually. He gets in first with a slow, heavy topspin. Couldn't do much else with the length of the Drinkle service. Maybe a little bit short, and that allowed Paul just to flip over the top of the ball and again find that the wide forehand with Garel's serves.
9-all.
Be interesting to see if he flicks.
2 Garel serves at 9-all isn't what you want.
Oh, long serve, it drifted long. And Parel be kicking himself. Long to the Drinkle forehand at 10-9. I'm sure that wasn't his intention. I think he'll look to serve tight. I don't want to be brave and do the kicker. Yeah, there we go.
Great serve.
Yeah, short backspin serve there. If I'm his coach and I'm in Garel's mind, I'm telling him to serve short backspin. I'm sure he doesn't need me coaching.
actually both of these players stepping into more coaching roles, respectively both coaching the national junior boys teams. Parel coaching the Swedish junior boys team and Paul coaching the English junior boys team at the last European Youth Championships.
Yeah, both with a wealth of experience and great role models, a lot to pass on to these young guys. They can learn so much from them, so it's great to see them staying in the sport.
Oh. Paul Drinkle switched hands.
Paul was
one
stuck.
I bet you've never seen before. That
no, stuck wide forehand, couldn't get back, and why not? You had to go.
Let's take a look at one of the best points of this game. Great pick up there from Paul Drinkle, and I think that's something Drinkle's looking to do and needs to look to do if he is to win this match.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pick up that long serve.
Yeah, that's it. And Parel will be looking, and that's where you see the speed of when people in this country talk about speed, they talk about leg speed or hand speed, but the speed what we talk about like table tennis is the speed that the message gets from the brain to the hand. How quickly do you anticipate it? How quickly do you see it? And then that is what gives players the perception of having more time.
That tactic is on display again here, isn't it? Go into that wide forehand, make him run back to the backhand, and not know what's coming next. And then that opens up. You've got options.
That's right.
You can either go back to the wide forehand down the line. You can come back across to the backhand, make them play that shot. And Grell was almost running for that backhand there.
Yeah, that's it. And obviously, you know, when Paul's taking the ball early, it's not easy for Parel. He needs to stop Paul doing that. And I think if he tightens his serves up, that prevents Paul from making that first attack. And I think we'll see that more and more as this game goes on.
Going to be a really interesting end to this match, isn't it? You know, if Drinkle is able to secure this one, takes the match score to 3-2. In a must-win match for Drumchapel, really, as they're only 2 points behind Ormau in the league table. But if they lose this one, that's 4 points behind, and some tough matches for the Drum coming up. Yeah,
I think it's a critical match. Speaking to Paul about it yesterday and looking at the fixtures, and I think they are fully aware on the bench that this is a really, really big match. And after having lost the doubles,
I'd say also what might work in the Drumchapel's favour is that if they are able to win this match, not only do they go level with Ormau, but next they'll play EBAT, who are rock bottom of the table and could actually leapfrog Ormau.
Yeah, that's it. It's all going down at the bottom of the league, and obviously from a spectator's perspective, that's what we want to see. It makes it interesting. Paul 2-1 and serving. Drifting along that time. Good play from Parel. Gets in first, exploits the long serve, and then the quick switch.
That's the first time we've seen him stay at the table and really take that attacking backhand on, isn't it? Playing with power instead of just a little kick there.
Yeah, I think he needs to do that more. Stepping away from the table against a player with Paul's power is not great. You need to take the time away from him. It's tactically very good from Parel.
That's a really early timeout call from Paul Drinkle there. Do you think that might be a tactical decision?
Yeah, having a little bit of insight here, having kind of coached Paul over the years and sat in his corner. Sometimes he just feels it, and there's been times when, as a coach, I've wanted to throttle him. I've wanted to save it for a later point in the match. But if he just feels that something's not gluing together in his game, he likes to take that extra bit of time, plug himself back in, and come back to where the table focused.
I actually seen him do that against João Monteiro at the last European Team Championships. He was 1-0 down, I think 4-1 down in the second end, called the timeout, come back, and then absolutely battered him.
Yeah, he just, if he feels, he's very much a feeling player, and if he feels that things are just moving away from him psychologically, he'll call the timeout, he'll take the full minute, which is what he's doing now, and then come back to the table with a fresh mindset. A lot of coaches like to keep it for 8-all in the 7th. I've got a secret tactic, I've got a serve, I've got this. Paul very often didn't give me that privilege. Been a few crosswords over the years about that, but very much he's so experienced. He knows what he's doing out there, and if he feels it, then he calls it. And now,
if your Parel was serving hand here at 3-2 up, are you doing something different, or are you sticking with the same tactic?
I'm going short batsman.
And he tried something different there. He tried to go for that long serve
to the Drinkle body. I think against a power player, you need to stop them from getting in with those heavy shots. And Parel has done that better as the game as the match has proceeded. Yeah.
He's got it back.
Fantastic feeling away from the table. Unbelievable feeling.
This is real table tennis.
Yeah.
Just clips the edge. Definitely going to be up there for one of the points of the weekend. when we take a look at the highlight reel next week. You can watch all match highlights and full matches next week on the Table Tennis England YouTube channel from every match over the weekend.
It's great for the spectators to see Parel away from the table there, fishing it back and lobbing, but from a tactical perspective, he needs to do what he's just done in that point there, which is serve and then get in with his own strong topspin.
He actually leans back slightly when he opens up on that backhand, which a lot of coaches wouldn't tell young players to do, but it actually just helps him, because Paul's push is so long and so fast coming out. It's actually helping him create more spin and get that ball over the net, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. I think that kind of leaning back action is just when he's trying to play with that little bit more topspin, take a touch of the pace off. And obviously in table tennis, as much as we've trained to be in the right place, you can't always be in the right place at the right time. Paul mixing it up now with the serve from the senses he needs to stay in this end. Parel's just
quite disappointed with that one, wasn't he, Parel? You know, spin up to the backhand and makes the mistake.
Yeah,
change of pace.
Yeah, that's it. And just, I think if he is away from the table, he can't afford to be playing at Paul's forehand. You saw there, he just targeted the backhand. He's got a better chance. I mean, Paul's backhand is not weak by any stretch of the imagination, but his forehand is nuclear strong. Parel tactically there, just, I think, being very clever. 2 serves to come. He'll fancy this end now. Yeah, there's the short backspin serve. In with his own topspin. Yeah, that's it. And looking to do that more and more. Getting in behind the serve is something he's done more and more as this match has went on.
Six game points now for Parel.
He sneaked away in this end, much to Drumchapel and Paul's dismay. Forehand winner there at the hip, and I think the big tactical change there is just the fact that Parel has tightened his serve up and got in first behind his own service. The first end against Paul, he let him in too easily, and we saw the result.
Steve, looking ahead to some of the other fixtures around the hall this weekend, you know, there's a couple of huge clashes at the bottom of the table. BATTS taking on Drumchapel in the next round.
Yeah, absolutely. And it'll be interesting to see how it pans out, and obviously how the league table goes. And pressure can do all sorts of things to players. And it'll be a mouth-watering prospect. We've obviously got Ormsby Brighton at the other end of the table as well, who are fighting for top spot. It could be academic by then, but from a spectator's perspective, we hope that it goes the full wire, and it just adds to that interest.
Taking a look at one of the best points there in that third end. This is what we said we want to see from Paul Drinkle if he is to win this match, isn't it? Get Parel out into that wide forehand.
I mean, what people don't see at home there, that first shot of Paul's to wide forehand, Parel to have the time to anticipate that and get it back, it keeps him in the rally and allows for then what could be an enforced error from Drinkle. But that first ball was critical. He just sees it and stays in the rally. And now Parel with the 2-1 lead. Drinkle to serve. And we will see. Just change the angle for a while just to see the Drinkle service. And with Parel being a lefty, this is a great angle to watch this match from. Just opens up the table. Richie Venner back in the commentary seat. Thanks for joining us again, Richie, and lending us your thoughts on this clash.
It's been a top class match, but it just seems slightly slipping Parel's way.
Yeah,
you know, he's just started slowly, got better, took the second at juice, won the third 11-4.
Paul recognised he has to change something kind of tactically there with the quick flick and then the quick forehand off the bounce. And there we see it again. He's looking to stay close to the table and plough those power shots. Parel away from the table. Fantastic feeling once again. Yeah, and that's
good rally.
Good rally, and I'll certainly be delighted from a Drinkle perspective as Parel lets him in with that forehand. He's got a great chance if he manages to do that. 3 points to the good. And reading the serve there, I'd be disappointed. Strong flick and just didn't manage to follow it up. 3-1 to Paul and serving. This is the type of lead that he would have been hoping for at the start of the fourth game, being 2-1 down. And there's that straight, fantastic hands there on the net. Really good play from Parel. Paul managed to keep that touch short, and Parel just managed to make it difficult enough around the net for Paul to miss that open. Paul 3-2-7. The straight backsman serve again. Yeah, that one was, you could just see from this angle the contact point on the backsman serve and the speed of Drinkle's wrist. That's a privilege that Parel is not enjoying as a lefty from the perspective he's viewing the serve from. And now the Parel serves to come. Long and fast that time, great surprise serve. And then the attack to the Drinkle backhand and then the quick switch to the forehand. Fantastic play from both players. Early ball, quick topspins. Parel just taking that backhand early and managing to keep the Drinkle forehand quiet.
I'm really enjoying the battle of Parel's serve short to Paul Drinkle's forehand flick.
Yeah, that's right.
Very high class table tennis.
Speaking of high class table tennis, fantastic rally. Paul away from the table. And uncharacteristically with these two guys, just sometimes they've won the point once and then missing the smash. And they'll take it at this stage. Paul 5-4-7. And there's that backsman serve again. Great feeling these guys around the net. Yeah, fantastic play from Parel there. Just fantastic to see in the early exchange on that point, the feeling just to keep that ball so short.
I love seeing little touch rallies just over the net. Very, very difficult to do.
And so skillful. And there's the famed Parel kicker serve. Manages to get a weaker forehand from Paul and then rips it off the bounce. He's apologising. I thought it was clean, but maybe just caught a top edge. A lot of respect between these guys. Fantastic to see. And again, from this angle, you can see that serve was topspin, but from the right-hander's angle, very difficult to see.
I think it's the amount of topspin and the amount of kick he gets on it.
Yeah. Even if you read it, you've got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And thanks, Paul needs one of these on his own serve.
Yeah, it'd be great to see Paul come back and win this game. I particularly would love to see a fifth end here.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's that short backsman serve again from this angle. The right-handed against the left-handed. This angle is fantastic to watch. You can see all the nuances and the little delicate touches that make the spin. Paul there with a heavy backsman serve. Will he follow it up with a float? Yeah, and then in with a flick. Fantastic rally. Taking the ball early. World-class table tennis from those two guys there. Float serve, Paul in with that quick hand down the line, and then off the bounce forehand. Topspin winner. Parel managing to stay in the rally, but not successfully on that occasion. 7-all and serving. Yeah, well read. Oh, brilliant table tennis from both players. Seeing the speed there that these guys have at the top level. Staying close and just topspin rally. And you get the feeling Paul needs one of these. Gets away with that. Just, it looked like an unforced error from Parel, but if you saw the receive, Paul just cut under the ball and just managed to play enough to the crossover point to make it difficult.
And he played it with the pace he played it with as well. It kind of rushed Parel.
Quick early ball. Fantastic rally. Amazing table tennis. Parel away from the table.
Oh, how did he get
incredible
that back?
feeling. And Paul with a switch. Oh. And Paul did nothing wrong with that rally. But credit to Parel for staying in the point.
How did Parel get those backhands back?
That's it. Stayed in the point and then just a little bit fortunate, but fantastic feeling away from the table from Parel.
Oh, I think it's such a shame when such a fantastic rally is one with a fortunate shot.
Let's look at the quality before that though, Richie. Yeah?
Oh, the quality was fantastic.
Oh, this is the flick there. I think that flick was there to go for. I don't think that was an overhit. I think it was there to go for, just a little bit low on that occasion. Parel 10-8 and serving. Now this is where I found Paul's coach. I want the timeout.
Yep.
But he's used it up. Paul will be brave. He always is when it's tight. Let's see what serve Parel employs. Topspin serve.
Yeah.
And there we go.
Well, more from the crossover that time.
Yeah, well played, Parel. A little bit unfortunate at the point before that. I think Paul needed to win that big point. But a really clever serve there from Parel, and Drumchapel now. Job done.
Yep.
From a match perspective. And although the spectators would have wanted that to go to a fifth end, I'm sure the Scottish guys are disappointed. But Ormo, very, very happy to take that match and ensure the points on the board.
Let's get started.
Paul Green. Welcome back now to the guys who are watching the stream, myself and Connor commentating, and Ormo now in a very, very commanding lead, full on lead now, and
Points are secured for the Ormo team.
Points are secured, and I think they would have a couple of hours ago, if they could have seen this result, they would have been more than happy with the way things. I think, as you highlighted earlier, Connor, the double was critical, and Drumchapel with 2 games up there, and really put all the pressure then on Paul Drinkle's shoulders coming in the match against Parel. Becomes a must-win, and Parel played really well in the match, managing to take the end. So we're seeing now McCreary against Aaron McKibben. I'm certainly impressed with Paul McCreary in that last match. Played his own game, didn't get caught up with the fast stuff too much. Good range of serves and then heavy spin.
Taking a look back at the last match we've just watched, Paul Drinkle versus Parel, two legends of the game going head to head.
Yeah, some of these rallies we saw were fantastic.
Paul going down 3-1 to Garel.
Something for all the family in these rallies, Colin, that's for sure.
Head back to the live action now. McCreary takes on Aaron McKibben. McKibben did himself proud against Parel, I think.
Yeah, the scoreline was maybe a little bit unfair. He really had a go at him, and that's what you got to do when you're playing up. And if he'd have snigged that second end, who knows what we could have saw. Difficult to when you're 2-0 down against a player with Parel's class. And I'm sure we're in for an entertaining spectacle here with Paul McCreary and Aaron McKibben. And Paul there with that variety of serves. McKibben in strong. The touch was loose. McKibben doing what any coach will tell you to do. Take the ball early, rip the far and wide.
Really like watching this close-up angle. You can really see the quality on the serve and the timing of the players. For those watching at home looking to learn from some of the best in the business this weekend, yeah, I think that close-up angle, you can really see the timing that you just mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously you can see the contact point on the serves. You can see the speed of wrist on the serves and the variation on the disguise. So it's always nice to see from a different perspective. Who do you think starts favourite here, Connor, on paper?
I think for me it'd have to be Paul McCreary with that little bit. I think he's a little bit more aggressive in the rally. Aaron sometimes can look to be quite passive on the backhand and punch and kick and counter a little bit stronger. But Aaron's actually started really strongly in this game, and I think it must be a testament to all the hard work he's putting in at the EIS in Sheffield and back home in London. 3-time Paralympic medalist and world number one in his class.
A fantastic achievement, and obviously a very capable player at this level in the BCL as well. Some interesting footwork there from Mr. McCreary. I'm not sure that's from the coaching manual, but
if it gets the job done.
If it gets the job done, absolutely. If it works, do it. As you said, Aaron just being maybe a little bit passive on the backhand. I'm not sure that's going to be too effective. Ball spinning from both wings. McKibben there with a serve. Drifts long, top edge from Paul McCreary, and you certainly didn't see too much of that in the Drinkle and Parel clash.
I think that's the difference, isn't it, between that former top of the world level players and the top BCL players. It's that unforced errors. The number of unforced errors is massively reduced, isn't it? You get into the rallies a little bit more. I mean, obviously we saw some mistakes on receive from Paul, but that's testament to the quality in the serve from Garel.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's at what degree we talk about the unforced errors. There's what can look an unforced error can actually be a clever little change of service, a clever change of direction, the subtleties of the spin, and also the play around the net, which leads to the big rallies. That tends to be at the better level. The quality's high.
Really, really strong start by Aaron McKibben here. 10-5 up, 5 game points.
Yeah, absolutely.
His first end.
He's going to come out and obviously try and take this match, and just gets a little bit caught in the middle there. And McCreary employed that heavy topspin to the body to great effect in his last singles match against Sun.
If I was coaching Aaron McKibben in this one, especially on the serve, I'd be doing a little bit more into the backhand of Paul McCreary, especially half long, because he likes to push quite a lot, Paul McCreary, on that backhand, whereas anything middle forehand, he's looking to get in.
Yeah, it's almost that kind of older style of a little bit more passive from the backhand and very aggressive with the forehand. I think the difficulty is that Paul's service, particularly when you're receiving that, he has great variation. So what you don't want to do is push and the ball pop up 2 feet in the air, and that's sometimes what we've seen. So I think that's going to be an interesting battle as that develops. He does it short forehand as well, so the reverse serve kicking away from the control and the centre point, the ball coming away from the bat and making it difficult to keep it tight.
We mentioned about Aaron McKibben there playing really well today, but actually only 4 out of 18 wins this season. But I think he is playing at number 2 in the team quite often, which means he plays against the opposing team's number 1. taking on Parel. You know, that loss adds to your record, but
Yeah, of course
it's
it does.
certainly no disgrace losing to Parel, and you never expected to win that one if you're in
Absolutely.
Aaron's shoes.
Absolutely not. And there's no mugs here. If you're playing at this level, you've either been very good in the past, you're on the way up to being very good, or you are very good. So there's no easy matches. And particularly playing at 2, as you say, you're playing against the number 1 player, and that's going to be difficult. Certainly no disgrace from Aaron, who's performed admirably well against Parel. Probably deserved a little bit more from that match than what he got. And raced into a 1-0 lead here against Paul McCreary, who was very impressive against the Chinese player Sun. Oh, you save them for juice, Aaron. It's a little dead net there that we all get those. Yeah, and that's more positive there, just that backhand open up. I think he needs to look to do that. Attack the McCreary forehand rather than be passive there. Oh, another one. And McCreary can even force a smile. He knows there's not much you can do about those. And now just joined in the commentary box by Lorestus has called in to say hi to me. You guys just heard that there. Friendly guy saying hello, one of my opponents from the past. Didn't realise he was live. And he's ducked out now. He's preparing for his game. So 4-0 to Aaron McKibben now, and serving. He's raced off to a great start in the second end. Paul there, a little bit more aggressive with that form topspin, which is, he's been a little bit unfortunate at the start of this end. A couple of dead nets, he won't panic.
I played against Aaron a couple of times myself, and I find if I can go into Aaron's wide forehand, I find a little bit more success. Like even there on that last point, you can kind of see Aaron's timing is a little bit off on that wide forehand.
Yeah, we all have an Achilles heel. No one's perfect, that's for sure. And obviously the good players, you need to be good enough to exploit it. And certainly these two guys have got the weapons to do that. It'll be interesting to see if Paul picks up on that and manages to exploit that tactic. It's okay knowing about it, but putting it into play can be more challenging. Yeah, and there you see it there again. Connor, that's absolutely right. And we see that tactic from Paul that he employed so effectively against Sun. Short reverse serve the forehand and the heavy spin forehand, making Aaron overhit that 4th ball. And there once again, just Paul getting in this match now, you feel, and he's better. I think he's better when he's spinning the ball heavily. He looks more confident when he's doing that. That's more his style of play, and managed to come back now and 4-4 the last points. Let's service there.
On table 2 in the background, you can see Ismail Akindia taking on Isaac Kingham. The EBAT team are having real success in that match. You know, BATTS 3rd placed in the table, and if EBAT could get 2 points there, that would put them level with Drumchapel. Ormau have now gone 4 points clear of Drumchapel, actually winning this match here on table 1 that we're now watching. But with EBAT taking on Drumchapel next, if they could win that one, it'd bring it back down to just 2 points behind Ormau going into day 2.
Yeah, absolutely. It's still all to play for, isn't it? And who knows? It's, you know, the final weekend. There could be some shocks yet.
Both ends of the table as well, which is fantastic. I think it's all a bit up in the air, even at the top of the table. Ormsby only 2 points ahead of Brighton.
Yeah,
but really being stretched by North Ayrshire in this match. 2-2 between Ormsby and North Ayrshire as the 2 number 1s are fighting now.
Yeah, wow, and how many people would have called that? But you know, I mean, it just shows what we've been saying there, Connor. There's no mugs at this level, then anything can happen. As we now see 7-6, 7-5, sorry, to Aaron McKibben, and if he can go 2 games up, it'll be a long road to home for Paul McCreary.
I'd be really impressed if I was Aaron McKibben in this one so far. I think he's playing very, very well, and Paul McCreary is certainly a very experienced senior player.
Yeah, that's right. He's been around a long time. I can remember when he was a cadet, when I was playing as a senior, just coming through over in Northern Ireland and then gradually establishing himself on the British scene. Very capable guy, very experienced. He knows what he's doing out there, and you can see he's just feeling his way into this match now.
Could it be a little bit too little, too late?
Rocket topspin there. Just see there, the problem if you play to the middle of the forehand against players at this level, it's just too easy. They can plant the feet and rip, and that's what Paul managed to do there.
Something I speak about quite heavily with some of the younger players that I work with is about planting the feet. And I think what I mentioned earlier, if you can get Aaron wide into that form, he doesn't really plant his feet.
Yeah, that's it, and that means the balance isn't as good. It can throw your timing off, and just a bit of an Achilles heel. And we've all got him, Connor, that's for sure.
We've got more than one.
I think I've got more weaknesses than strengths these days. And yeah, that heavy topspin again, I really think that's a hallmark of Paul McCreary's game. He just loves dropping the ball, let the ball drop a little bit later, give him time to really up with the heavy topspin. And now 10-7 up, and this one's just gone a little bit away from Aaron McKibben.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, nice off the bounce. Yeah, you remember those ones when you're having your ticket night.
Let's take a look at that one again. I think it's worth watching. The heavy spin, like you mentioned there, and that ball, it's not short, is it? It's actually half long, but he actually plays a little bit more of a banana flip than a proper open up.
Yeah, that's it, and it's just varying the spin. It makes it so difficult to kind of deal with.
This one, absolutely no one home here. Bombs into the forehand, but
that's it. It wasn't wide enough, was it?
No, and played too fast.
It wasn't wide enough, and then Paul just manages to get his bat to it, flick that wrist. Good night, Vienna. Just looking at the scores there on screen.
Obviously, last match, it's hard not to talk about, Steve. The very last match of the weekend coming up on the live stream. Definitely make sure you subscribe to the Table Tennis England YouTube channel, because this is not one to be missed. Ormsby versus Brighton for the title.
Top of the table clash. Obviously, Ormsby got the home advantage. Guys were down here last night practicing. They've got a home crowd, and certainly that gives a slight advantage. But Brighton will be absolutely up for that. That won't faze them at all.
And the man on screen, Ennio Mendes, only flew in this morning, actually landed in the country this morning. Plays in 7 foreign leagues across Europe.
7 leagues. He's a professional player, journeyman player, and he's obviously earning his keep. And, he's very used to it. He's very, very match tight. Playing in all those leagues gives the advantage playing at this level all the time. So he's very, very match tight. So it won't take him long to get going, and a very fine player in his own right, particularly playing at number 3 in the Ormsby spot.
Very clever tactical decision. Something that Armagh have done in this match themselves. Paul McCreary playing at number 3, Sophie Early at number 2.
Yeah, as a coach, you look and you've got to look at the matches and think, well, where's my points coming from? And Ennio Mendes is a very, very capable, solid player, very experienced. And playing at 3, he's not going to lose too many down there. Fantastic backhand opener there from Aaron McKibben. Really fast speed of wrist to flick that ball over the table with a little bit of side spin. And you just get the sense that Paul McCreary, after a slow start, is really settling into this match now and looking a lot more confident against the McKibben game. Now we're seeing again that slow, heavy spin ball just forcing the error. It's the variation that he does so well. Serving now, and he's raced into a 4-0 head start.
A heavy spin that you speak about again there, Steve. He's not actually even trying to go through Aaron McKibben at this point, is he? He's just spinning up and waiting for the mistake or the easy ball.
Yeah, it's the variation and the placement as well. He's finding the McKibben body more times than not, and Aaron not managing to get his bat in the right place. And when the spin on the ball, you can easily lose control if you're not in the right place. And Paul really has done that very, very well in his first match, and now very, very well against Aaron. And 5-1 up now after a slow start, and really starting to look the stronger of the pairing now.
That class and experience, it comes through eventually, doesn't it? Paul McCreary got off to a really slow start in this one. Even in that last game, he was 4 points down at one stage, but they never seems to phase the top players, whether they're down or...
Yeah, that's right, and I think that's part of his character as well. I haven't known the guy well for years, but I did know him back in the day, and he was a very laid-back kind of character. He doesn't panic. He's not one to panic in any type of situation, so he was happy just to play his way back in, feel his way back in the match, and then suddenly it's all changed.
Actually recently married, Paul McCreary. Congratulations, Paul.
Settled home life, certainly doesn't do any harm. And now Aaron with a long way to go in this game, 3-7 down. And there's that heavy spin again. Fantastic there from Aaron McKibben. Just throwing caution to the wind in that one. Paul McCreary did nothing wrong there. Aaron just straight over the top of that ball. Fantastic speed of wrist. Surprise long serve to the forehand. Yeah, and he's not done yet. Back to 5-7, although with the McCreary 2 serves to come. I think we might see the reverse short forehand. Possibly his best serve from what I can see. He's very comfortable doing that motion. Yeah, there it is again.
Actually, a good receive this time.
Very good receive.
Actually, a really
and
good
a great
point.
angle on that. Touched it tight.
The receive actually set him up, didn't it, for the forehand, getting
Absolutely.
the side spin coming around the side of the ball, trapping it.
Yeah.
Nice and short.
And the difference there, instead of playing to the McCreary middle forehand, playing it wide, makes all the difference. Yeah, 6-8. He's just managing to keep that little gap, McCreary, keep his nose in front at the business end of the match. Just
that little bit faster around the table, isn't he? Anything loose and he's onto it, Paul McCreary.
Yeah, that's it. You can see him there now, poised. Receiver. That's a great receiver serve. And Aaron's done really well there. Paul McCreary, fantastic soft hands there to keep that tight. He took it late, wasn't sure of the spin, but still managed to keep it short. Aaron managing to play the strong forehand topspin regardless. And that's where he didn't want to do. Was that an edge?
Yeah. Ball just gliding across that edge there, leveling the match for the first time in this third end.
Paul got in first as well. He'd be disappointed with that. And there's that heavy spin ball, forces the error. We've seen it time and time again from Paul McCreary. When it's tight, he goes back to what he knows best. Short serve, lets the ball drop, reels it up a topspin, forces the McKibben error.
It's like you've mentioned a few times today, Steve. Obviously, the players are expecting a fast ball coming, and so they step out ready to play. But actually, that ball never comes through, and by the time it's got to them, it's dropped below the table, making it really hard to reloop with any real pressure.
Yeah, that's right. You've got to take that ball early. If you're away from the table and it drops, suddenly you've got to think about the timing and the spin. Not easy. And Paul now with 2 games point, though, against service.
Taking that counter early, so much easier for McKibben.
Fantastic rally.
Point.
Oh, and Aaron's disappointed with that, and rightfully so. He did manage to get across wide forehand there. Really good point from the guys there. And actually, if you see what Paul McCreary does at deuce, he's looking to get in with his strength as early as possible. He's looking for that serve drifting long. You just see the amount of topspin he parts on the ball here. There's a long serve, picks it up, great pickup. Gets around, gets his strength in. Aaron stays in the rally really well, and disappointed to miss that ball there, Connor. And just at the start of this 4th game now, and Paul McCreary really established his class. Lost the first end, 4-0 down in the second, didn't panic, just worked his way back in the game. And there's that heavy topspin again, time and time again.
You see there from Aaron, he's not actually taking that ball on when Paul's heavy spinning it. He's letting it drop and trying to roll it back over, almost ruin Fearless-esque, but not with the same quality. And it's difficult when you're an attacking player to be so far away from the table and try to attack a ball that's already on its way down.
Yeah, I think what Aaron needs to do is what he's just done in that point there. He needs to stay up to the table
and command it.
and command the point. Take the ball at the top of the bounce and move Paul McCreary around. If he goes away, the spin's difficult.
How often are we seeing Aaron McKibben making the mistakes without McCreary playing a backhand? It's like what we spoke about earlier when Parel took on Drinkle. If you can make the player play that backhand that they're weaker on, you've got half a chance.
Yeah, that's right. Tactically, if you can push your strength on their weakness, and it's not easy to do, but if you can find that and do that well, players at this level, generally you're looking at a victor.
Timeout called there from Aaron really early.
Timeout called, yeah. He's 4-1 down and just senses the match moving away from him. Paul McCreary looks like he's chilled on the beach. Most relaxed man in the hall.
Isaac Kingham's done well on table 2 to turn this game around, was trailing 1-0 to Devils' famous Ismaila Akindia serves, and now leads 2-1, where BATTS take on EBAT. EBAT bottom of the table against BATTS, 3rd place.
Yeah, and Isaac Kingham's a youngster that I've been impressed with. I first saw him really, he played Paul. I was in Paul Drinkle's
the national championship.
The Nationals, yeah, the year before last. And he played some really good stuff and good timing, strong on both wings. And I was really quite impressed with him.
I've played alongside Isaac for, I think it's four years in the championship division. And what really impresses me about Isaac is his mentality. You know, he's very, very focused, very positive throughout the game, even when things are going wrong. And I think you need that if you want to be an elite athlete.
Yeah, absolutely. If I was his coach and he did that behind the back shot as much as that, he'd be doing press-ups in my training and all, but it's nice to watch. And he's certainly got quality, and it's something I look for in kind of young players. Has he got that quality to move up? And if he chooses to pursue it, I think he might just. Back to this match now, McKibben 4-1 in serving. Let's see if the timeout can get him a quick early point. Ooh, uncharacteristic miss there. McCreary did everything right. He was shaking his head. He was round. He looked to employ that heavy topspin and just made the unforced error on that occasion.
It's difficult, isn't it, at this point for the All-Mile team? And maybe McCreary, that's why he got the slow start. They've done what they need to do. The match is secured. The points are coming home to Northern Ireland.
Yeah,
and you're probably safe for the season at this point if you're All-Mile. But it's really difficult because every player still wants to win the matches.
Yeah, of course. And I think Paul McCreary's character is quite a laid-back, relaxed player anyway. So now the points are safe. He can relax his way into this match and feel. But Aaron's not going to go away. You know, as I've said it a couple of times now, there's no mugs at this level, and we're certainly going to see that, I think. Aaron 3-5. Yeah, that's great open up there from Paul, and just McKibben did well to stay in that point, to be honest. He was on the back foot, and I think he needs to do that there. He's staying up to the table and happy to block and take it earlier rather than drifting away. 4-5-7. Yeah, ambitious.
It's just too big, isn't it? You know, you don't need to do that. Because, like I always say, if the ball's not on the table, you can't win the point. Just still kick the ball, just take some out of it. That variation in spin and speed does the damage.
The problem is as well is that, yeah, that's it. Paul McCreary there just spinning that ball up, and really you don't have the speed, the force of the ball coming through to work with. So you've got to take more care with it. And Paul McCreary's got a lot of topspin on these shots. And time again, he's finding a winner just through playing that slow ball.
I think if Aaron was brave enough, some of these serves from Paul McCreary just drifting a little bit long.
Yeah, I think he needs
to look. If he can get that right leg under the table, stay over the table that little bit longer and pick the ball up.
Yeah, he's letting him off the hook there a little bit, Connor, with that long serve, because again, McCreary wants to push ball back to employ that heavy spin. So, and there we see it once again. I think Aaron definitely needs to look to take the initiative if those serves are drifting long. It's a missed opportunity, in my opinion.
It might see a long serve from Aaron, try and force Paul to play that backhand. Mistake on the serve.
And you don't want to be doing that at 5-8.
Paul McCreary really in the driving seat now. Just 2 points required to make it a fantastic day at the office for All-Mile. He could race into a 5-1 lead. I really thought this match would be a lot closer, Steve.
Yeah, that's it. I think, as you said earlier, Connor, I didn't really gauge how important the doubles were in this format. I'm not as familiar with this format. I never played it myself. And that doubles match, 2-0 down and pinching it 3-2, then puts all the pressure on Paul Drinkle against Parel. Par gets that victory, and suddenly it almost feels like a whitewash. And Aaron now needs to save 5 match points. There's one of them, stepping round, playing the strong front topspin. Like to see that. But with the McCreary 2 serves to come, it's looking likely. 7-10 now. Yeah, that's not the serve to be doing against Paul McCreary. With the long backspin serve, straight backspin gives him chance to employ that heavy spin and manages to take the end with that. He'll eat those serves for breakfast all day.
Stay with us as we've got one last fixture in this clash coming up between Sophie Early and Jinliang Sun. If the matches are going on elsewhere, when this fixture finishes, we will be able to give you a little bit of a wraparound coverage. I'm sure Steve will talk us through the whole.
Yeah, that's it. Just watching some of the matches now going on. You've got Ormsby against North Ayrshire. Surprisingly, North Ayrshire, or surprising to some, a 3-2 up. Though Eniel Mendes, Ormsby's number 3, very strong number 3, is on the table at the moment. Isaac Kingham has worked his way back into this match and looking in a commanding position. Very impressed with him. And then my old foe, the rest of Strumpauskas, Evergreen, on the end table there. Man who plays backhands from all over the court, even 20 years ago when no one else was doing it.
Fusion were actually in control of that match 2-1 to start the game.
Love to see the rest is still competing at this level. He's Mr. Fitness these days, and you can tell. And back to the action now, and we're going to see Sun against Early. I talked earlier about Sophie Early and her style of play and her standard, and testing herself against the elite in the men's in the UK, and doing a very capable job as well. And I really think she's one to watch for the future. Homegrown Ormo girl, 2 brothers who play the sport as well, which doesn't harm on the practice partner front when you're a young player. And I really, really like the way that she plays, times the ball very well, top spins from both wings, looks to play aggressively, looks to have a cool head under pressure, and really good to see her coming through and developing for the future of English table tennis. Obviously changed nationalities in terms of allegiance to play for England, which I believe she's eligible for in a couple of years' time. And we talked a little bit earlier about the potential strength and improvement in the women's game. Young Ella Pashley, I've had the privilege to practice with on a number of occasions. Really nice young lady and a very capable player in her own right. Another youngster coming through. Number 3 or 4 in England, we've got Jasmine Wong, who's been there a little while. Tiana Yu, improving every year. And Bianca in Tintin Hall, who's been around forever, it seems, but still relatively young and holds the record for English national championships won. And this match now, love all with Sophie to serve. Just drifting along that time. Certainly positive play from young Sophie on this occasion. Backsman serve that time to the Sun backhand court. And 1-1 with Sun to serve. And let's see how this match fares. Two players with similar styles, both attackers. Look to topspin the ball strong from both wings. Sun probably the marginally quicker of the two. And missing up that backhand open up, which we did see some errors in his earlier game against Paul McCreary. Looking to open up with that backhand topspin. He's definitely stronger on the forehand side. Looks to have a real missile of a forehand topspin. Good play from Sophie early. It's a good rally away from the table. And Sun in with that forehand topspin. Back once again. And just overhitting that time. Sophie did well to stay in that rally. Very good attacking shots there from Sun. Just switch angles now so we can see a little bit more of this with the right-hander versus the right-hander. Possibly a better angle for you viewers at home. And Sun now serving 2-5 down, long topspin, and Sophie unlucky there. If I'm a coach, I'm applauding that. That's definitely what she needs to do. That's her style of play. She'll win a lot more points than she'll lose by adopting that tactic. And interesting to see the development of the game from watching the game evolve 20 years ago. Really, you had to serve short. Now these days, because of the change in materials, the change in the balls and the way the game's advanced, sometimes the long serve and then the reloop or the counter topspin has become more prominent. And obviously the game always developing, players adapting with it. 5-5 now, Sun serving. Back into backhand rally. Sun there just adopting to step round and play that forehand topspin to open up. And then settles on the backhand corner with the backhand kick to kick. Again, another massive part of the modern game. Increasingly so, it seems. And we see the backhand open up from Sophie. Oh, yeah, gets away with that one. And I think Sophie needs to not allow herself to be pushed back too easily in this game. You give a guy with a strong forehand like this too much time and they can hurt you. 5-7 there. And I just think the backhand rally, that topspin, I think Sophie possibly the stronger there. She'll be happy to stand and exchange backhand kick to kick. Again, a slightly unforced error there from Sun. Did he need to do the banana backhand there? Could he have touched that ball tight? Easy to say from the commentary box. 7-7. Yeah, and that time's better. I think if he does go to the early backhand, he's better off playing heavy spin. I think Sophie's very comfortable with the quick kick backhand exchanges. Great short touch there. Let's fantastic receiver serve there from Sophie early. Quick touch, took the ball early, keeps it tight, helps you to keep it tight. 8-7 now. Yeah, and that's what Sun will look to do. That's that forehand I talked about. If he steps round and is playing that forehand from the middle of the table, Sophie could have a hard time. 7-9 now, 7. Yeah, he's not getting any joy with that receive. Looking to flick the early service and more backspin than he's anticipated. Great exchange. Yeah, and Sophie just staying a little bit closer there. She's still stepping back a little bit too much for my liking. I think if she's attacking the Sun forehand, she needs to stay close to the table, giving that little bit less time. 9-9 now and serving. Yeah, well dealt with. Sophie's disappointed there. You can see the look on her face. She was in first. She would have backed herself. 10-9 serving. Loose serve. And Sophie's in. Yeah, and that time, just instantly there, Sophie finds the backhand topspin, just plays the quicker ball slightly towards the elbow, forces the Sun error. Juice with Sophie serving. And tactically, really good there from Sophie. Great rally, away from the table, back in, let. And I'm not too sure Sophie will be too disappointed. Although she got in first, she allowed herself to be pushed back from the table. And 10-all. Yeah, that was a good receive from Son. He just managed to catch Sophie unexpectedly. The quick receive to the backhand, forced the slow topspin, step round, plays that strong forehand. I think Sophie will identify she needs to prevent Son from doing that. 11-10 serving. And the backhand open up. Sophie much more comfortable to open up with that backhand banana side spin, topspin flick to the Son backhand. Son should perhaps serve short the forehand to prevent that a little bit. Yeah, and Sophie again there tactically good, but missed the opportunity to the Son body. Son serving 12-11. And rescues the net. Son's done well there. Sophie with the fortune that Son stayed in the point. This time managed to plant his feet and play the stronger backhand topspin. His backhand open up seems to be hit or miss. If it's good, it's good, but not as consistent as it could be. Certainly making more errors from that side. But when he does make it, there's real quality on the ball. Just looking around the hall now, Inigo Mendes in the Ormsby match takes a 2-game lead against Chris Main for North Ayrshire. And that will steady the ship for the Ormsby team. I can't quite see the score for the rest of this Trumpauskas match down on BATTS. Fortunately unable to update you there, guys, but that game is still going on. Son makes his way back to the table now. Sophie quick to follow. And Sophie possibly a commanding lead through some of that game. I think she possibly could have won that end. I think she'll be disappointed to lose it. Son now serving. Love all. And now this match 1-all. Sophie serving. Yeah, really good there. You just see the explosive power and movement. From where I'm sat, I can see the side of the table and just really helps her reel that ball up with a heavy topspin. Great use of the legs there.
Some huge matches going on elsewhere across the hall, Steve. The Restas Trumpauskas leads Felix Thomas in the decider between Brighton Table Tennis Club second place against Fusion. How huge is that fixture?
Yeah, massive match obviously going into it, because if they can pinch that point, then that takes the pressure well and truly off the Ormsby team, and Brighton really a bit of a banana skin.
And another huge match on table 2. Josh Bennett now taking on Simon Belic. Belic the favourite in that one. Czech Republic International. In the decider, Isaac Kingham saving match points against Ismaili Akindia to level the score to 3-all.
Yeah, and this Belic looks to be a very, very capable player. I've not seen too much of him. Just managed to watch a little bit of it. Great timing. Looks to have a lot of ability, and obviously played at a good level previously. You can see by his stroke making, he's a very, very good player in his own right.
And with EBAT taking on Drumchapel next, with a strong squad this weekend, Ismaili Akindia, Belic, Sammy Kay, and Nahom Askadon, really heating up at the bottom of the table.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Keeps it interesting for us all. Be some great matches coming up. And back to this game now for Sophie Early and Son. Let's see if Sophie can adapt and manage to take this end. Son looks a little bit more settled than he did against Paul McCreary.
I thought he was quite impressive against Paul McCreary. Some of the quality and some of the balls that he played and some of the rallies, but it just doesn't look to maintain that quality throughout the match. He's very up and down, isn't he?
Yeah,
Big shots.
I think Paul did a good job in stopping him play with the slow, heavy spins. He wasn't as comfortable as that. He wants to go faster, and you can see there that forehand, the damage he can do if he's given the time to play it. Good serve there from Sophie, just quick accelerating race, a little bit more backspin.
He's a high risk player, isn't he, Jin Young Sun? You know, his shots are all quite big. The stroke is quite long, so
yeah, Well, he's not so good. He's actually done, in opposition
Really
to what I was
well.
going to say there, he's done really well, but he doesn't contain from the back end as confidently, it seems. And Sophie's trying that tactic, and I think it's a good one. And if he's given time to play that forehand toss
He's
from
there
the middle of
again.
the table there, uses it to devastating effect. And that's his big weapon. And that when it's going big backhand loop there. All right, at 9-5 up, Connor.
I won't go for it 9-all in the fifth. I'll put it that way.
Maybe not.
Probably
Yes.
push a float serve, knowing myself.
Possibly, mate. We don't want any of that at this level, that's for sure. And Sophie there serving off, which she'll be a little bit disappointed about. And Sun now 2 games to the good.
Coming up next on table 1, huge clash. BATTS versus Drumchapel Glasgow.
Mouth-watering, and we'll see what that brings. There's some interesting matches up going in there, that's for sure.
Battle of the bottom of the table.
Yeah, absolutely. And now we're just seeing Sun take a 2-0 early lead in this end against Sophie early. Tying of the shoelace, I don't think it's tactical. We don't want any trips or slips. Adopting to serve from the middle of the table there, unforced service error. Sophie there just going for the inside out forehand feet, not quite in the right place for that shot. I think the tactic is good to go to the Sun backhand. But you got to put it on the island. That's a really good receive there from Sun. It looks like an unforced error, but just the quick early ball to the early body. Tries it again. Sophie in this time. 2 great forehands away from the table. Sun, fantastic rally.
Oh, a little drop shot.
And the drop shot. Still
No way.
going. Yeah, off the table. That was really good play from Sophie. I think this is why she has a chance at the top level of the women's game. She's strong from both wings. She can open up, equally comfortable on both sides.
She's had some really good wins internationally on the international circuit. Beat Brit Ireland from the Netherlands.
Yeah, an experienced player.
Netherlands had a really good tournament at European Team Championships, beating France actually.
Yeah, she's capable. She can play. It'll be
Freebie
indeed. He was round. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Sophie develops.
She's had some time away from the table with a hip problem
Right.
in the last couple of years. Seems to be getting back to it now, reaching the semi-finals of the English Nationals this season, defeating Jasmine Wong,
Yeah.
who's been selected for the World Championship squad. Obviously,
Yeah.
Sophie just ineligible at the moment as she makes that transition from Northern Ireland to England.
Yeah, that's right. And she's definitely showing a class, I think, as you say, kind of some of those international results and then semi-finals of the English Nationals.
Took Tintin Ho all the way, didn't she? In previous years, 4-3 in the semi-finals of the Nationals.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, that's Tintin's tournament, that one.
Yeah, and she's still kind of reasonably young. And I look at a game, and as strong as it is, there's still, from a coach's perspective, there's still a lot to develop. So the fact that she's this good, but with so many improvements to make, bodes well for the future. Staying in the rally now, yeah, fantastic play. Oh, it just goes wrong.
I think it's so clear when you can see that ball's going to go off the end when the players stand up or the shoulders come up, just guiding the ball off the end of the table.
Yeah, that's right. Sun in the commanding lead now, 9-3. Sophie having a swing at that one, 3-9 down. Only should be going for that one at juice in the fifth either corner. 7 match points now for Sun. Misses that forehand. despondent with himself.
Bit of a consolation victory, isn't it, this one for Drumchapel Glasgow?
Yes, the match is over. Dead rubber, but the players will still be looking to do themselves justice, no question about that.
And I suppose for Jin Yang Sun, if he can get this victory, it gives him some confidence going into what will be a huge battle versus EBAT.
Yeah, of course, yeah. There's still a lot to play for, so they're not taking the foot off the gas.
And there it is.
And there's the victory there for Sun over
That's the match secured.
Sophie. And game over, match over.
And also elsewhere around the hall, finishing at the exact same time, Felix Thomas succumbing to Lorestas Trumpauskas on table 4, Brighton.
And what a result that
Brighton
is.
dropping 2 points, Ormsby 4 points clear now at the top.
And Brighton there with the banana skin. And that was not how they wanted their weekend to start. Not the start they were looking for. And that will only boost the Ormsby team's confidence.
So stay with us, don't go anywhere. Thanks for joining me in the commentary box, Steve.
My privilege.
As we look forward to Drumchapel Glasgow taking on EBATS this afternoon.
I got time to nip something.